Okay, so we're going to start our Legal Shield presentation. This is the optional pre-meeting session about how to get affordable and reliable legal assistance 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this is Sarah Mitchell, Legal Shield Regional Manager, to give the presentation. Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, and at any time, if you would like to interject anything, Bob and I, we're a team here, and 13 of my minutes are gone. So I have 12 minutes to talk real fast, 12 to 13 minutes. True, this is just an overview. However, I host luncheons, breakfasts, so if you would like more information, I mean, we have videos, we have many ways of providing you more information. I have been with the company for 20 plus years, since 1998, and basically what I do is help the business community, individuals, employees, and again help you with your clients. So we're talking about digital disruptors, and I will be going fast. Everyone in here has one of these, am I correct? We say this is the remote to your life. This is your remote control, your real estate. So what we're doing here, our company, we are disrupting the legal industry, having it where, just imagine an app on your phone where you can tap the app and have affordable access to the justice system. And you're looking at AV-rated attorneys, not going 1-800 India somewhere, or not knowing where you're going or Googling your answers. You're getting it from bona fide attorneys. So we'll talk fast and just catch up with me, okay? But here again, I'm hosting, if you want a screenshot of that or get with Bob, I'm hosting 2 events at my office on the 19th, and it's a breakfast as well as a luncheon. Please RSVP, and the reason is my conference room, limited seating. So for that reason, you can get so much more on how we can help you to grow. Oh, anybody who's taking, okay, want to back it up? Okay, there we are. If you would like more information, that would be a place to be, and we're located at 9005 Two Notch, which is the intersection of Raven Road and Two Notch Road, if you're familiar with the Northeast area, Spring Valley Commons Plaza. What I'm doing here is highlight, okay, let me get it going in the right direction. So that's me. We provide the benefits, as I said, protecting families, small business owners, big businesses as well, individuals and your clients. All we're doing is disrupting the justice system, because we know if we can make it easier, more affordable, simpler, that's going to make a big difference for busy business owners. Am I correct? Or for families, for individuals, because we all wear many hats these days. Do you agree? That so we're trying to have it where, how can we help reduce stress in your life? A lot of times, it's not about the handcuffs, it's about day-to-day life events. A contract that need reviewing, a document that need reviewing, or it could be where you've not updated your will. You're moving into another phase of your business growth. Well, where is all that going to be spelled out? So we help with those things without you having to worry about billable hours. As a business owner, it doesn't matter whether you're large or small. If you know a business owner that have employees, they've had situations to come up that could possibly warrant legal counsel before they deal with that employee the way that they're dealing with them. So what do you do? How can you know that the way you approach what you say is not going to be jeopardizing you and your business as it relates to a lawsuit? Debt collection. Anybody in the room have had a debt collection issue except other than me? It does happen. If you've not had one, you most likely will run into a situation at some point. So please take this information as well and share it with other colleagues. Been in a situation, or have you just been in a situation where you would like to have legal counsel? Just to know that what you're about to do is being done from a legal standpoint. What about Bennett? Bob? Oops. Okay. What about a dispute? Anyone in the room has signed a contract? All the time. This right here is a contract. And how many of you have done something online and it says, check that agree box? How many of us really read that or all the content there? But have you entered into a contract? Absolutely. So here again, you can even have your law firm there. We know from statistical data that 60% of small business owners experience a legal issue. Not handcuffs again. It's just the growth and operating that business. What if you could tap the app on your phone and talk with your law firm Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and have that addressed? That's what you're looking at. The home business supplement. This is so huge. Most individuals here, are you entrepreneurs and maybe work from home? That's my sweet spot, and I love those individuals because I have an office, however, I have a home office as well. So here again, as a small business owner, by protecting your family with the legal plan, you can add to that a supplement, which is only $9.95, and it's going to give you business protection, contract review, document review, debt collection issues. How many of us know that if you have a situation where it's no pay or slow pay, and you go to a collection agency, they're going to retain 30+% of normally what they collect for you? Is that correct? Here, what if you can have your law firm enter into that debt collection situation, and whatever is collected is yours 100%. I just had one of my members, she texted me, it's still in my phone, where she went into a concierge type agreement. Someone wanted to lease her equipment, and of course, because it was $300, not a lot of money, but for that amount of time, they were upset because they were not able to fulfill their return, selling whatever they wanted to sell. So they were holding off on paying her $300. She called me and it's like, girl, you better go ahead and call the law firm. She called the law firm, sent me a picture of her $300 check. When the attorney sent that demand letter, we call it the muscle letter. And again, they sent it to that person and had her to send the check to the law firm. The law firm sent it to my member. Was that worth a few dollars? Sell up under that $9.95 business plan. So I'm just highlighting all that you get. Plus, this right here is so huge. As entrepreneurs, if we are audited, you need to have a tax attorney involved. Here with this $9.95 added to your $24.95, you can now have a tax attorney, not just to talk with, but accompany you in a given situation. Is that great or is that great? That's what you're talking about for $9.95. So I can go on and on. We have another component to help grow your business here that can be added. All of these features are part of Go Small Biz, only $14.50. So again, you can look at bundling. So it's not where I'm here to talk to you about the $149 plan. I'm talking about how you can have family protection, business protection for less than $50 a month. How many times can you go to Starbucks a month for $50? Not many. So that's what you're looking at. It's just basically having it where you can talk to an attorney without worrying about billable hours. Because people say, oh, well, yes, I do have an attorney relationship. Absolutely, we all do. I have family members and friends, but they can't do pro bono all the time. And sometimes you just may not want them in your business. So here again, this is where you can remove that cost. Just talking fast, this is what your app look like on your phone. You tap, and this we just provide. I'm not going through all of this time. Have you ever, look at all these things. Sign a contract, landlord, been overcharged, receive a traffic ticket. My last ticket was at Myrtle Beach, one of my favorite places. And I was ecstatic to come back and send that ticket to the law firm and have them call me back and say, hey, we negotiated your 4 points, because you know what that insurance would have looked like. With that, they were able to negotiate the 4 points to 2, and they were able to have the fine reduced. I didn't care about the fine, it was the insurance and those points. So that right there paid me up for a couple of years as far as I was concerned. But these are other things that just life events. If you've not updated your will, here we provide you a living will, a last will and testament, healthcare power of attorney, durable power of attorney, all of that for that same $24.95 for you and or your spouse or significant other. So you can just see all that you receive here. Even some civil suit. How many of us entertain or have had people at our home? All the time. That can easily turn into something not so great. So you have that legal muscle there. We cover uncontested divorce, uncontested name change, uncontested adoption, all of that for that same $24.95, plus emergency access 24/7. It doesn't matter. I even used this when I was in Hawaii. situation at the resort. All I had to do was tap the app, get in touch with my law firm to get that dispute resolved there. And it was nothing major, but they told me I couldn't use their workout facilities. Yet I paid $3,000 for a week's stay. If only they had revealed that earlier, I would have decided. So it wasn't a big issue. It wasn't dying to exercise, but it was the principle, you know? So that's what you're looking at here. This is an overview, keep in mind, and I'm talking fast because of that, will preparation, all of that good stuff. Other areas, it could be bankruptcy, murder, rape, DUI. If someone uses service, you use your law firm, you get a 25% off of that. So I'll explain that to you more when you reach out to me. And of course, Midlands REIA, they're one of the marketing arms. I'm just a mouthpiece for them. So here again, to contingency cases. Instead of calling the all 9s and 2s and 3s and all that, you can here tap the app, call your law firm for those same type matters, and you're getting a greater return because their retainer, the amount they retain is going to be less. So that's huge there. Who's covered? You, your member, all children up to age 26. How many of you have children under the age of 26 in the room? They are covered. What if that child is in college or elementary school or middle school? My daughter even used this for the twins, which they were being bullied at school. And it had to get, it just escalated. But after the attorney got involved and sent a few letters, no problem, none whatsoever. So you just never know when you might need a situation. So the question is, the hourly cost of an average attorney is about $250 an hour, and that could be modest. So what would you like to have, a $250 morning, or have it where you can have access for a whole month, covering your family, covering your business with all the business products that I've highlighted up to this point. And we can break it down to a lesser amount depending on your interest. Identity theft, the fastest growing crime in the country, has been the #1 reported crime to the FTC for 17 plus years. And I'm just so proud to say that everybody in here has some form of identity theft protection. I'm confident of that because you know the awareness is there. However, we're the only company that, to date, that provides restoration in all areas of identity theft: medical theft, Social Security, DMV, criminal character, financial, and synthetic. That's what we're looking at for you, your spouse, and your children. That is huge. Restoration, restoring you back to pre-theft status, and that can come with up to $1 million guarantee. Data breaches in the dark web, it's not going anywhere, people. The dumpster diving and the mailbox hustling and all that, it doesn't exist that much anymore than going after data breaches. Here again, you know what a data breach is. I don't even have to really talk to you or elaborate on that. The bad part, people don't realize how their information is being sold on the black market. And these are just some of the price points that they're selling their information for. We know about the .net and the .com and all that, but there's a whole different website of dots out there for that underground marketing. So how do you best protect yourself in those given situations? These are just some of the more recent hacks. I mean, they're all huge. So when you say, oh, I have some older individuals, maybe my age, they say, well, I don't use ATMs and I don't use credit cards. It's like, Ms. Jones, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter, that's irrelevant. Because according to AARP, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, over 400 dead people opened bank accounts related to identity theft. That's in one of my articles. So that's what you're looking at. They're in the systems doing things where now, rings that is, they're in the hospitals. So unfortunate, as soon as there's birth, they go and it goes down low to the system, and now that social is selling at premium dollars because the babies have to be assigned before they leave, am I correct? Then they go to the other switch when there's a deceased. Now they're intercepting insurance benefits, other benefits. The family's still grieving, and now they're already, taking care of all of that. So these are just a few of some of our larger data breaches. So here again, ID Shield Dark Web Monitoring, what we do that set us apart, as I stated, we deal with the restoration of your identity, you, your spouse, and your children, pre-theft status. Oh, where you getting a picture of that? You got to take pictures fast. But this is what we're looking at. And when you import all your information, you're not having that credit monitoring there, but you have the entire you factor being monitored as it relates to your identity. It's not about financial. So here again, another app comes with that. Mine is on my phone. Bob is on his phone because Bob have all these services. Here we have private licensed investigators that will provide you the service that you need to restore you back to pre-theft status. As I stated, our service, according to the market, is the most robust in the marketplace. This is a breakfast again that I'll be hosting, and of course perks. I'll show you how to use your member perks. Anybody in the room other than me like discounts? Perks. It's like you call me, if it's on sale, call me. But we have perks, and literally it could be where you're getting a few dollars off your cell phone bill depending on the plan, movie tickets, auto rental, all these categories. I have used them in a big way. Several hundreds of dollars of value there. And by the way, it's hot off the press. We didn't have that slide on there, but I'll make sure Bob get it. We just won the #1, for cyber protection. We won the gold award, our product. So, I mean, I am so proud of that. But, oh gosh, I wish I could just find it to show you. I thought I'd incorporate that. But it just came out yesterday that we were #1 as far as having the most robust identity theft service in the market, not the marketplace, but in the country. So that's huge. I conclude here that Sarah Mitchell, again, if you would like more information, you do have some handouts in your seat. Midlands REIA can provide you additional information. Should you contact me, my number was up there, 803-622-5334. I'm happy to answer any of your questions, provide you whatever information you need so that you can make an informed decision. That's all it's about. Not here to sell you anything, but have it where you can decide, okay, this can give me better protection, peace of mind, and security. Again, Sarah Mitchell, 803-622-5334. Feel free to register for my breakfast or the luncheon if either suits your schedule for the 19th. Bob, having said that, I'm finished. Thank you very much. No time for Q&A, okay? They cheated me out of my time. So I'll be around family for a minute, and if you want to give me a card, I'll be leaving by 8 o'clock. I have a Zoom at 9, and I need to go all the way across town. It's all good.
Okay, we're having a slight change in schedule. Normally we'd have like deal presentations now, but Andy Holland actually suggested we move a couple things around. So we're going to show a basic intro to what this REIA does, and the deal presentation session is afterwards. That way all the people who've seen it before go ahead and network and stuff. So, okay. I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, no one see that okay? Okay, this is more for the newer people. Obviously, the veterans who've been here before, you've seen this. Please network and make any connections now. Or maybe if you want to, you can just be my guest too. Anyway, this is Midlands REIA. There's several other REIAs in the area. I suggest you check them all out. Build your network. Your network is your net worth. You've heard that, right? Okay, very important. Okay, please silence your phones. Okay? We have an oops jar back there. If your phone goes off, especially during speaker presentations, just push like $5 for me to put in the jar back there. At the end of the year, it goes to charity. Last year, there were $20 in that oops jar, 50 of it was mine. It went to charity. Photos and video may be on the computer, mainly for purposes of Hey guys! Shh. If y'all want to network, maybe we could just kind of take it outside and then come back in during deal presentations. Sorry about that.
You get started?
Hey, Steve. Well, no, just the introduction. I moved a couple things around. Instead of doing deal presentations first, we do the intro first and then deal presentations and then the speakers.
Well, you're confusing me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Steve. Okay. Anyway, okay, we may catch photos and video here. Hope that's okay. It's going to be mainly for like social media purposes, stuff like that. Okay. Liability disclosure. We are not licensed attorneys. We do have financial experts here. Okay, I don't know their licensures or anything like that, but in the event that you do need to question whether or not anything you learn here is financially or legally wise to do, seek qualified help, because unless anyone else is here is licensed, we're technically not the people to listen to other than from personal experience. Okay, we have a lot of personal experience to pass on. Okay, now I keep on showing this. This was actually suggestions tended at our Christmas party. One thing I would like to cover, because people have shown an indication that they want to learn syndication, among other things, wraparound mortgages, some of the more creative stuff. Wraparound mortgages, later on this year, maybe in another month or so, we are going to have a subject to workshop which covers wraparound mortgages. Okay? So please keep a lookout for that. Okay, REIA goals for this year. I've heard this from some of the national speakers who come in, and this knucklehead here, he's a guy who sells stuff, of course, he kind of confirmed this in an unofficial way, that only 3% of the people who ever get into real estate the way we do it will ever do a single deal. Okay? I think it's a little higher in Columbia. I'd heard along the lines of maybe even 10%, but I've not verified any of that. Short story is it's still a pretty pathetically low success rate. We'd like to see an increase of that significantly, 50% or maybe more even. Okay. Our goals are to provide more workshops. We've already had 3 this year. Okay, rehab workshops. Also more subgroups. We have a couple subgroups going now, and we need to really stick my foot up the butt of one of them. The one, unfortunately, I'm leaving, so it's me. Anyway, so we want to get more workshops going. Also, you'll see the gurus came to town, or is about to come to town again this year, shilling their $25,000 and whatnot coaching programs. Guys, at the level of real estate that we want, what they want you to do is they want you to put on your credit cards. Okay, and they know that 97% of us won't do anything with it, but they have their money. All right. Don't do that, okay? You don't need to put in a lot of money, if any, to learn how to do this business and build up the money you want. If you want to, first make your money first, and then if you want to go into the expensive coaching program, at least do it with money you already earned. Don't put it on debt. Okay, we have a couple members in here, they're struggling to put food on the table because they're saddled with like $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in credit card debt because some knucklehead gurus came to town and sold them on it, okay? So be careful of those guys. As I mentioned, our goal is to increase the success rate to at least 50%. Last year's 20%, and at the Christmas party, a show of hands showed that we may or may not have achieved that. I mean, I'd like to think we did. 50%, preferably 100%. I'd rather see a REIA with 10 people with 100% success rate than, say, 100 people with only 10% success rate. We're going for success rate. For beginners, we want to get you up and running independently from anyone else. That's the key, as soon as possible. Now, we'd love to have you join this REIA repeatedly year after year, but we know that's kind of impractical. People move and whatnot. We want to at least give you some of the basics, so if you move to another part of the country, you can get up and running there as quickly as possible from some of the basics you learned here. Okay. Also, for advanced investors, we want to continue to provide. We want to provide the best continuing resources possible. All right. We have a pretty good network that we can draw on, and hopefully they can give us the best resources to share with you. Now, why the low success rate? I think it's because it's It's an easy barrier for entry, pretty much almost no barrier to entry, okay? I mean, you don't need like a college degree or anything like this to do this business. Okay, what you need is some basic education and perseverance. That's the key right there. And you need to be able to adjust along the way. You need to be able to know when you're doing something right, when you're not quite doing something right. And you can see along the timeline, you can see the line to success and failure look pretty similar. And lots of times people quit right about here. You know, some people join this association, they paid annual dues, and after paying, I never heard from them again. I don't get that. Okay. And that being said, I do want to mention something about 8 people, I think, joined last meeting. And I put you all into the system, log into the website, as well as offer an introductory webinar on how to find deals, at least the way I learned how to do it up here, okay? Only one person ever got back to me to schedule that webinar, okay? So I don't know where everyone else went, all right? Anyway, don't give up, okay? Take what you learned and improve on it, make it better, don't give up. Okay, how does a good club or association help? Well, it offers an abundance of resources, provides great networking. We try to give the best training possible, not just ours, but any, okay? I could just be describing any good real estate investors association. And a good association is always seeking to improve and adapt, as well as learn and teach the best practices for local investing, right? A lot of my time is spent delving into the legal issues and whatnot, because I want to find out how does this work. Okay, like for example, lease options. There are some pitfalls you can really put your foot into, right? As you really dig into it. Okay, annual member benefits. Discounts to national vendors and supply houses in the members area. Discounts on Midlands REIA trainings and workshops by the, if you're a member of Midlands REIA and if the workshop is held by a Midlands REIA member, try to keep them free. If you're non-members, there's like a nominal fee or something, like $40 a person or something. Access to the members area with local cash buyers. Back there, Lisa, Tricia, and Julie have logged in and we've seen the local cash buyers, and you've located. And I went with the foreclosure sale, which is one good way to find them too. All right. So anyway, also we have documents there. The documents that I use that work are also in there. As well as, now right now we only have one video there. I need to upload the other rehab videos, as well as other resources. Also closed guidance for deals. Now this here is, we have a number of, I don't call them mentors, we're more like resource librarians. Okay, to me a good REIA is more like a library of resources. And I cringe when someone says, oh, you're a good mentor. You know, I'm a resource librarian, okay? And we have several among us in here who don't mind spending time with members here. And don't get me wrong, non-members too, but, you know, if I'm on vacation and a non-member calls me, you're gonna wait till I get back from vacation. On the other hand, if a member calls me while I'm on vacation, I'll get back to you. I mean, the wife won't be happy, but I'll get back to you. We're always looking for ways to improve. Workshops, topics, subgroups. If you have any ideas, please let us know. All right, if we can make it work, you know, by all means we will. Okay, now we're on all the major social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but if nothing else, this goes right to our Midlands REIA Money Mastermind group on Facebook. Okay, that's where a lot of deals are being done now. So if nothing else, join this group. And by the way, on the right side of our website, if you log into the desktop version of it, you'll also see a link that goes to our Facebook group. So if nothing else, join that group. This is where our cash buyers are. I'd say each month I get maybe a couple calls asking what the cash buyers list is. If you don't log in, and you hover your cursor over the members area, all you're going to see is log in, log out. You have to log in to see this full drop-down list here. And the cash buyers are right there, and you'll see they have their phone numbers and whatnot. Now, I ask you, do not call them unless you have a deal. Okay, we've had some members call them, and you know they'll see like a YouTube video saying, fill out this form. What do they like to buy? How big a deal? And they quiz them like that. Don't do that. Okay, don't call them unless you have a deal you really want them to look at, because otherwise you're wasting their time. But most importantly, you're wasting your time. All right. Okay, annual membership is $125 a year for single. We try to keep it affordable, and $200 for a couple. Now there are something called REIA bucks, like helping out at certain events and whatnot, that we can give you credits towards that, okay? Or if you refer a person here, like for example, a new visitor, you refer a new visitor here, it's 5 REIA bucks. They sign up, that's another 20 REIA bucks, which can be credited towards membership fees and stuff like that, okay? You cannot use REIA bucks at your local grocery store. A few announcements. Okay, Dean Louise each month usually has a book corner. I didn't think it was appropriate. She actually sent me a book to announce, but I didn't think it was appropriate without her. I mean, it's not the same thing. Okay, this is really her best topic here, in my opinion. So we'll wait for next month. Now, every month we try to have a website that's either free or at least low cost that might have the, might give you some kind of help. This month I thought was kind of appropriate, since we have 2 retired executives from the Service Corps of Retired Executives, financial experts, if you will. Right? They give free business mentoring, free business resources, and they have decades of experience in their chosen crafts. Right? Now, the key word is free. Right? Now, how hard is it to say, hey, I need mentoring, let me go find a mentor that doesn't cost you anything? I seriously doubt, I mean, let's put it this way. This group, you're motivated enough to come here. I'm sure there's going to be a good percentage of people who's going to pursue something like this. But the average person probably wouldn't. I don't know why. It's just not in their DNA, I guess. Okay, now, I have to admit, we do have a calendar of events on the website. It's been acting really wonky. I have to fix it. Okay, I have no idea why it's misbehaving, but once that's fixed, it will give you a normal calendar. So my apologies right now, but normally our calendar events gives us a list of everything. So in the meantime, if you could, get your cameras ready. I can take some pictures here because you might want to attend some of these events. Okay, every 3rd Tuesday of each month, John Branham comes down from Winsboro and holds his own REIA. It's Palmetto Real Estate Investors Network. Every 3rd Tuesday of each month on at Zorba's on St. Andrews Road. All right. This is a really good group. It's a bunch of experienced investors, and I mean, these guys, they know creativity and whatnot. Between John and his co-organizer, Ken Holmes, they can almost answer any question you need to know. All right, so you want to consider attending this one. And the next meeting is March 17th, this coming Tuesday. I mean, a week from tomorrow. Okay. We partnered with Legal Shield because of all the litigation that's been going on. As I mentioned, I like to jump right feet first. Attorneys don't scare me, okay? I'll jump feet first. Now that I know, I learned from Legal Shield that attorneys are very strictly regulated in this state, okay? They may talk a big game and try to intimidate you. Don't be intimidated. Give me a call. I'll show you how to shoo them away. I learned that from Legal Shield. So we teamed up with Legal Shield to get reasonably priced legal help. And anyway, Sarah is holding a breakfast, a free breakfast, and a free luncheon. It's going to be pretty much the same session, just one's breakfast and one's lunch, on March 19th, Thursday. The breakfast is 8:45 a.m. at her office in Spring Valley Common Plaza, and later on she's going to have a free lunch if you missed the breakfast at 11:45. All right. So consider attending that one if you want to learn how to get some reasonably priced legal help. Yeah, Sarah's back there, by the way, if you have any questions. So. Okay, every 3rd Saturday of the month, there's a Women in Real Estate meeting, and Stacy Pinckney is the main organizer. One thing now, unfortunately, men are not allowed. Okay, this is for women. But one thing I've noticed, I read in a Commercial Real Estate Investors magazine that one of the big drivers of this economy is single women. And did anyone see Elizabeth Warren pick apart Michael Bloomberg in Las Vegas talk? Okay. You know, I don't think she could have done that 6 years ago. Okay, no one took it that seriously. Now, but people take her seriously. You know, my respect for her just jumped. And I was really impressed with what she handled. Yes, ma'am.
Later, the statistics says that the increase of single women shopping for properties is 17% from last year to this year.
Wow.
Okay, right there.
Yes, girl.
Celia is one of the shakers and movers, you know, in the real estate world. So I want to get her business card too. Okay, it's Celia means, by the way. Anyway, the next meeting for the Wire Group is March 21st. Okay, Saturday, and they actually just put their website. They activated their website. So if you haven't been to their website yet, you want to take a look at it, and they'll keep their meetings current on that as well. It's ColumbiaWireofSC.com. Oh, in fact, Stacy, you want to say something about Wire Group?
Of course. I always want to personally invite all the ladies and gentlemen, if you'll let your wives and others, friends know about the Wire. It's for any women that are involved in real estate, interested in real estate, associated or affiliated with the real estate industry. We just like to get together in a relaxed environment, just talk about different ideas. Sometimes we have guest speakers, and it's women only, so no men are allowed. And so with that, we just like to support each other and help each other grow businesses, and we're about actually getting deals done. So, you know, we're here to support and help, and want to personally invite you out. Hope you all can make it.
Thanks, Stacy. Okay, now, there's a gentleman I ran into. This isn't necessarily real estate. Now, I found some of my really good connections, some of my best connections in non-real estate related events. Okay, 1 billion cups every Wednesday morning would be one of them, all right? The gentleman who organized this is Jamar Washington. He's very well connected with the city of Columbia. He owns a forensic photography and media business. And he actually did some prison time, and once he got out of prison, he made the connections he had to, and he is seriously embedded in the city of Columbia now. So you might want to consider going to this event as well. I'm definitely going. In fact, Midlands REIA is one of the sponsors for this. Okay, so and if you decide you want to go to that website there and use code REIA for 50% off the ticket price. It is for pay, but I think it's well worth it. Okay. You make some good connections. Columbia Real Estate Investors Association. This meets every 4th Thursday of the month, and D'Angelo Laster, Keisha Jones, and Rick Renner, very experienced realtors and investors, run this one. It's 7 p.m. at Grecian Gardens in West Columbia. In fact, Rick Renner, one of the co-organizers, is in the back there. Right? Anyway, Rick's a very knowledgeable person, so he's another person I want to get a business card from. The next dinner meeting is March 26th, Thursday. Hopefully you can make it. Besides, the food's really good there. Okay, ladies networking lunch. Every last Friday of each month, Deborah Weiner holds this. Okay, if you decide you want to, again, this is just for women, right? If you decide you want to go to this, please RSVP to Deborah so she has an idea who's going. Right? Deborah is a very experienced manager of, I believe it's over 80 mobile homes, and I don't know how many houses. So she's a good person to learn from and trade ideas with. Right? Her next meeting is March 27th, last Friday of this month, at 1 p.m. at East Bay Deli. Right? Does everyone know what that is? And again, the count of events is still wonky. I'll work on that. Okay, tonight's speakers. Our very own Adrian Morgan, private lending specialist. She and her husband Mark lend in several different states. They lend on several different property classes, as well as they do rehab loans and equity loans, as well as we have as special guests Dave McCarthy and Ralph Messer from SCORE. Okay, and in fact, they're 2 mentors with SCORE, so I know we can learn a lot from them. They have decades of financial experience in the real world, so I hope you're ready to take a lot of notes from them. Anyway, Can you come up on, Adrian?
Are we not doing deals?
Oh,
Did you already do the deals?
no, actually, I take it back.
I was about to say, you gotta do that part.
Okay, does anyone have any deals they'd like to present for sale, or tell us, come on up, I appreciate it. Do you have a deal, George? What? Oh, shoot, okay. Sorry about that. Do you have that on a flyer? I'm sorry about that. So I'm confused about the, oops.
So I'll just go ahead and talk about it real quick. This property is in Sumter, South Carolina. I'm the owner. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3,000 square foot. When it's all done, the comps, it should be at least over 200, around 200 or more, depending on level of repair that goes into it, right? So it is, it had a fire last year, February, and on my flyer I broke down all the costs, to get it all done. I got some quotes and all that kind of stuff, and if anyone's interested, it's near Sumter High. I have some flyers, and just come see me. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Steve? Thank you.
We got a couple of different things here that some of you might be interested in. I've got the QR codes there, so I've just got the city and or the zip code and a brief description. If you want to do the QR code, I've got flyers if anybody's interested in them. But anyway, there's some pretty good money here for some buy and holds. 29205, great buy and hold. Some good flips here. If you're interested in either, let me know and I'll talk to you specifically about them, or if you want one of these flyers so you can look at the pictures and the descriptions and just hold up your hand, I'll give you one or something. But anyway, I've got, actually, a guy called me on Saturday and made me a full price offer on this one over the phone, and he hadn't even seen it yet. And then he gave me a little bit less than what we're asking on one of those other ones. And we showed 2 of those today to a couple of different investors, and showing one tomorrow. So if you're interested, I'm not saying you need to do anything tonight or anything, but I wouldn't wait too long, because at least 3 of those will be gone before the week's out. And this one in Hopkins, if we don't sell it in the next 2 days, we're going to put it on the MLS for 90. And then because we got to pay real estate commissions and stuff like that. So anyway, if you're interested, we'd be happy to talk to you about any of it or all of it. Anybody else? Sure. All right, thank you. Hey, let me say one other thing. This guy,
Still want one?
is the most giving real estate investor I ever met in my whole life. He will be out putting up bandit signs at 2 o'clock in the morning to help you, and then he'll take you to breakfast and pay for it. I mean, he's that kind of guy. This is yeah. And this is just an incredible group. But I'm a charter member of his fan club.
How much you pay?
I don't know, but I can take some easy. Is there anyone else who has a deal they'd like to present, or one they have, tell us what you're looking for, maybe even a deal that you'd like to maybe brag about? JD, have deals? Okay. JD is also one of the movers and shakers here. He almost always has a deal ready.
Try. If I could just figure out how to use this camera. Yeah. Oh, lucky guess. Oh, no. For all you judges out there, this is a lot harder than it looks like. Oh, I'm getting something straight there because you move it one way, it goes the opposite way. Anyway, I'm JD. with Midstate Property. I work with Intrepid. We do pretty much everything when it comes to real estate. We buy houses and wholesale houses. We do flips and do some rentals and stuff. So if anybody's new at wholesaling or has any questions about wholesaling, we don't mind answering questions. A lot of people will message me on Facebook and they're like, hey, can we get together sometime? I'm like, yeah, meet me at the meeting. We are happy to talk afterwards. 'Cause I'm already here, so that works. But we don't mind helping if you've got questions about, we do rehabs, so pretty good at estimating costs. It's kind of my job. So if you have a property under contract, you're like, how much does it cost to rehab this? Or you want me to come look at it? I can tell you what I would pay for it. I can tell you what the rehab costs are going to be. I can get our agents to run comps on it and tell you what it's worth when we're done. All the things throughout the process and teach you how to do that. If you have a deal that you need help negotiating or something, we'll help you with that and we'll help you get rid of a property. Whatever, we're just here to help with people. But we do actually do our own work as well, which is a new thing. We actually do work for ourselves. So we have some properties to share here in a minute, and I guess you can just send me all the other properties for rehabbing and all that kind of stuff. You can just send it to me, I'll tell you what I think about it, honestly, and try to be quick about it. But this property is in Rosewood. We have an inspection tomorrow from 11:30 to 1. It's on 3847 Eureka Street in Columbia. And it's a really, really cute house in a really hot area. So come and look at it from 11:30 to 1, and then you can see for yourself what you think it would cost, and you can have your people run your own comps and tell us what you want to offer for it. The offers are due in by Wednesday at, I think it's 3 o'clock. Ted's not here, I think he's sleeping in. Anyway, he went hog hunting last night, so he's not here. I texted him, where you at? He said, So, seriously, I'm not even joking. He said, like on text. But this is a wonderful property. I don't think that this is actually livable right now, and usually when I say livable, that's like, it sounds dirty. This is like completely rentable. It's clean. The lady that we got under contract with, it's very, very clean. She was like, I cleaned it from top to bottom. Hopefully you're happy with it so I can get a good price. And we obviously gave her a good price because she agreed. So that's that one. It doesn't need a whole heck of a lot of work as a rental. As a flip, you would probably want to do some updating on that one. But like she has new LVT in one of the living rooms, and the rest of the house is hardwoods, and the bathrooms have some cracked tiles. But that's a really, really light rehab if you're into rehabbing. Huh? Down? What's down mean? Oh. Well, now I get to play this fun game again. Alright, so this is one over by Richland Hospital. It's a couple blocks down from Richland Hospital. It isn't 229-203 technically, but it's right by Richland Hospital. This one is a wonderful cash cow rental because the rents are really high in the area and the home values are obviously not. So this house is only 25 grand. I don't think it needs a lot of work, but it doesn't need, $50,000 worth of work. It doesn't need 40, it doesn't need 30. It's more like 20, in my professional opinion. So you could probably get away with less. It just depends on what exactly you want to do with like the HVAC systems and stuff like that. It's kind of up to you. So you could be all into this house for, I guess, $45,000, and it cash flows really, really nicely in the like $700 to $900 range. So that is a really, really strong return for your money as a rental. It would probably burr if you guys are familiar with that strategy where you refinance and get your money back out. It would be a little tight on that, just to be straight up with you, because the home values are a little bit lower. But it's a decent area. If you move over a few streets over the interstate, it gets scarier. Is that good? Okay. This particular area, not awful. And we've shared all these onto the Midlands REIA Money Mastermind page, so if you're not a member of that, join it on there, which I know Bob just talked about. And there's something else I was going to say. There's seats up here, but I think we're good. Don't spread the coronavirus. Yeah, I guess I'm good. So if you need it, I only have one of each of these because we have it on the interwebs, so you can download it. So if you want one, you can have one. That's all I got. My phone number is Party98, by the way. I know everybody knows me by that now. But it's 803-727-8998. So 803-4098. That's my phone number. So give me a call. Let me know. Send me a message, because if you just call me, I'm not going to answer wherever Mr. Fogel is. Thank you.
Thanks, Shady. Okay, is there anyone else with a deal they'd like to present for sale, or maybe tell us what you want, or maybe a deal that you'd like to brag about that you've done? Now, there's nothing wrong with bragging about deals, okay? You'll see that if you brag about a deal, other deals follow. People want your business card, they want your magic. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead. It's a deal, right? Oh, really?
Hey, my name's Cindy. I work with Charter Properties in Saluda, South Carolina. And right now I have a property listed for a lady. It's 3.76 acres. It has a well, a septic, and electric pole already there. There is a rundown mobile home on it though that needs to be moved or burned. It's really not fixable. But you've got almost 4 acres of land with a well, septic, and electric pole already there. So it's a pretty good opportunity for an investor or somebody who wants to put some more mobile homes on the property. You can share the well, but you have to have a separate septic tank. It's between Batesburg, South Carolina, and Johnston, South Carolina. And the address is 169 Pat's View Loop, Johnston, and it's in Saluda County though. So the taxes are not bad on it. And I don't have any information with me because I didn't know if it was appropriate since I don't own the property. Just the agent that has it listed, so I don't have my card or anything with me. But my phone number is, if anybody's interested, is 864-377-0635. And it's like I say, it's an excellent rental area. Lots of mobile homes around the area. Oh, I'm sorry. It's $25,000. And there's clear land, and then there's some in the back that's got trees on it, so you might have to clear some trees off.
Is Turner Property Dave Turner?
Sir?
Turner Properties is Dave Turner?
Trotter Properties.
Trotter, okay. There's a Turner Property. All right, is there anyone else with a deal they'd like to present for sale, or maybe tell us what you want, or maybe tell us about a deal you did you'd like to brag about? I guess we're okay.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, are you going?
Yeah, just
Great, come on up.
for Steve and Casey Conti, Columbia Home Buyers. We're at our 1-year anniversary with this group, and we've 2 successful burgers and 2 successful wholesale, so we seem pretty happy about that. We like to buy, rehab, rent again, and get our money back. So if you got a good burr, we'd be interested. We'd probably like to be all in at under 100,000. So 5 for 50, put 20 into it, something like that. 30 if we need to. We're not afraid of ugly. Our last house basically needed to be completely gutted, floors, foundation, everything. And we got it done, and still we're comfortable. So that's us. If you're ever traveling on Harveston, we have that house in the corner. So you'll see my sign there, nice big banner. And Casey's my wife over here. Thank you, guys.
I came back from, they had a house on Westcott. They had to, was it the entire floor system they had to replace? Yeah, that was pretty ugly. But you know, they did. They took care of it. They budgeted for it too. Is there anyone else who'd like to have a, they have a property they'd like to market, or maybe tell us what you're doing? Hey Ted, you got it? Hey Ted, you got a deal you want to show us?
Yeah, he's got 2.
Okay, is there no one else who has a deal they'd like to present? Are we okay for now? Okay, now let's get on to the main show here. This is what I came here for anyway, the main thing.
I would think y'all be tired of me by now. I'm sorry you're forced to listen to me 2 months in a row. It just worked out that way.
Adrian's very modest. She's like a wealth of information. She's one of the reference librarians here, and a very well-regarded one. Okay, tonight's speakers, of course, are Adrian Morgan, Adrian and Mark are private lenders in several different states. They have quite a bit of money at their disposal. And as well, Adrian's going to talk more about the creative lending side of things. Basically, the private lenders who don't care so much about who you are as what you have, okay? Then on the other side, we have Dave McCarthy and Ralph Messerth with SCORE to tell us how more traditional, longer-term stuff really works, as well as what you should be doing to get ready to present to banks. If it's okay, let's give Adrian a nice round of applause. Say thank you.
Hey, perfect. Okay. And by the way, I'm also a charter member of the Bob Kim fan club. I mean, really, really. I think it makes a big difference because I've been to some groups where everybody wants to keep their secrets to themselves and they don't want to share and they don't want to help everybody else. I think Bob sets the stage here with this group for people to want to share and want to help each other and encourage each other, and that's tremendous. I mean, it really is. So you're doing a great job, Bob, and we're glad to have you. And thanks to all of you who braved the coronavirus to come out here and be with us tonight. I appreciate your bravery. It's hopefully not that big a deal. So, all right. So you always see this slide at the beginning. I'm here to tell you that I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial planner. I don't have any of those credentials. So please consult all of your professionals before you decide to invest in something. Okay, everybody good with that? You've been warned. All right, this is me. This is the correct spelling of the name. Okay, so Bob already gave you a little bit about my background. My husband and I started off as rehabbers. That was our big vision. We were going to flip houses back in 2008, 2009. It was a good time to buy. Not such a great time to sell. So we ended up becoming unintentional landlords out of necessity when we couldn't sell all those houses. But it's okay. And since then we decided we didn't really like rehabbing or landlording. So we evolved into private lending, and that's what we've been doing since 2009. And I do get to review these project estimates for every loan that we make to make sure that the numbers actually work. So we're doing stuff all over the place. Primarily with people that started here in South Carolina and have just sort of branched out from there. So I'm here to talk about private lending as an option for your real estate deals. And you've probably heard me talk about this before. Some of these slides are going to be familiar to you, but some of you may not have heard it. So a private lender is really someone like me, who is an individual who says, hey, I got a little bit of money to invest. I don't like what I'm getting at the bank. I'd rather put it into a real estate deal. So someone like you, as a borrower, can approach family members and friends and fellow church members and PTA members and things like that and say, hey, I can do better for you and give you a better return on your investment than you can get at the bank. So we're borrowing from people you know. It's a lot more friendly situation. The other beautiful part about it is every single detail of that loan is negotiable. The interest rate, how long it's going to last, whether you make payments or not, when you make the payments, whether you make principal payments or interest-only payments or some combination of those, everything is negotiable. So that's the beautiful part about it. It really can be flexible enough to work for you and work for your lender. And typically the loans are going to be based on the value of the property, not your personal credit score. Okay, so I think the other fellows are going to talk about what happens when you go to a bank. They will probably pay more attention to you and your credit worthiness as a borrower than we do, because we're primarily interested in the value of the property. And we consider it to be a very easy approval process. I'm going to describe what that looks like. So, it's really complicated. You have to meet your lender. Everybody got that? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, we prefer the face-to-face meeting. Actually, we insist on the face-to-face meeting. Even if we're loaning to someone who lives in North Carolina or lives in Georgia. We met with, there was this one couple that came down here from Ohio. I really didn't think they were going to do it. I thought that was a stretch, but they had listened to some sort of podcast or some sort of guru who had them convinced they needed to be investing in North Carolina and South Carolina, and they drove down here from Ohio to meet with us. It was a little crazy, but I said that's one of our requirements. We insist on it, and they showed up. It can also be a video chat perhaps or a phone call depending on who it is you're talking to. If you already know that person, if it's your Aunt Sally or something, you may not have to set up a face-to-face meeting. She already knows who you are. Please, for us, we insist that you include your spouse or business partner or significant other, whatever that is. Because we also want to know the people that are close to you, even if they don't have anything to do with real estate. I had a guy recently who called to talk with us, and he said, I really don't think I can get my wife to come. She's a teacher. She doesn't do anything with real estate. I don't think she would be interested. But we said, no, she needs to come along too. That's just a show of good faith. If you're looking to borrow tens of thousands of dollars from me, you need to be prepared to show up and talk to us for a few minutes. I want to hear about your experience with real estate. Any specific skills that you have, if you've done any renovations before, even if you replaced the tile floor in your own bathroom. I want to hear about that. Any other work that you may have done on a rental house or something you did for your grandma. All that's relevant. I want to hear about other skills that you have that might apply as well. Although I really don't expect you to do all the work either. You can know people. Call people to help. That's usually a good idea. I want to hear about what your goals are with real estate, what your plans are, what is it you're trying to accomplish, and how could we fit into that. I want you to share your success stories, all the good stuff that went well, and then some of the stuff that didn't go so well. Because has anybody ever made a mistake?
One time.
One time? Well, you're ahead of the game if you only made one. I learn a lot from my mistakes. I don't know about you, but that informs the way I behave going forward. So I want to hear about the mistake that you made, but also what you learned from that, how that's going to change your approach in the future. And then this is also a good opportunity to ask questions about the loan terms and conditions so that we're not just dictating it to you. I can tell you what our normal terms and conditions are, but you might have questions and some of that might not be clear to you. And I will point this out, at least for us personally. If you don't have any experience in real estate, you're trying to get started, this is your first time, we may not tell you no, but we may ask you to find a mentor. Because there's a lot to learn on your first couple of deals. Actually, probably your 50th deal, and your 75th deal, and your 150th deal. You're still going to continue learning, but we want to make sure that you have someone there to coach you along at the very beginning. So after approval, basically after that face-to-face meeting, our approval process is we talk to each other in the car on the way back home, or we talk to each other that evening and say, what'd you think? No, I don't know, what'd you think? So we reach a conclusion, yes, we feel comfortable with this person and the way they intend to tackle this project, or no, we don't. But let's assume that we did approve of this potential borrower. The next thing we would provide is a proof of funds letter. Are you familiar with a proof of funds letter? Okay. It's basically saying, yeah, I've basically got that pre-approval. If you got a pre-approval letter from the bank, it'd be the same type of thing. So proof of funds means I have access to the money to make a purchase. You can turn that in with your offer.
What's the range of funds you're talking about?
For these loans?
Yeah.
The sweet spot tends to be between $60,000 and $120,000, typically. It depends. The correct answer to every question is it depends.
It depends, yeah.
But it depends on the deal. It depends on the purchase price and how much they're gonna spend on the renovations. And how much it's worth when they're finished, of course. If any of that's unclear, please reference my presentation from last month. Went into that in a lot of detail then. So we're going to ask for some specific information from you. We have a credit application we're going to ask you to fill out. We don't want anybody to share personal information with us until we're committed to working with you. Because I just don't want to be responsible for keeping up with all your sensitive financial stuff, you know. So I'm not going to ask for it until we're committed to do that. I will also need some information about your company if you're using a legal entity to purchase the property. Basically, I want to see that you are associated with that legal entity in some way. I need to know the IRS tax ID number for that entity. And then there's this thing called a signing resolution. I always thought this was just sort of a cash generator for the attorneys. But essentially it's a one-page document that says, yes, I give myself permission to sign stuff. It seems kind of silly, right? But you need to have it. So you pay the attorney $100 and he creates this one-page document and you sign it saying I'm giving myself permission to sign. I didn't make up the rules, I'm just letting you know what the rules are. You also can ask questions about the loan terms, again, in case it's unclear at all. You should also check with us on the availability of funds. Because this is where I'm getting into trouble lately. I've got people that are approved to borrow money from us, and I just don't have any available. We're in one of those wonderful situations where all the money's already out there. So it's a good problem to have, but I have to start telling people no. So make sure there's some money available before you start making offers. And then finally, if there is, then you can go out and look for that deal. Any questions about these steps? Okay, perfect. Okay, the next thing I'm going to know from you is what is it about that deal that's so appealing to you? I want you to inspire confidence in me that you have a true home run on your hands and that you know what you're going to do with it once you get it. So I want to see things like the photos and the description of the property and all of its wonderful features. I want to see what it's worth after you're finished with it. So I need either comps or an appraisal, a comparative market analysis, something that helps me understand what it's worth after you're finished. A realistic budget with contingencies. Again, I'm gonna refer you back to last month's presentation on holding costs, insurance, financing costs, selling costs, all those things in that budget. A timeline and the project plan for draws. Are you familiar with the term draw? Other than just scribbling on something? Okay, a draw is what you get when you've completed some of the work. Essentially, if you've got a $30,000 renovation budget, I'm not going to hand you $30,000 at closing. That's not the way this works. I used to do that. Remember we were talking about mistakes and how you learn from mistakes? Okay, that was a big mistake. Learned a hard lesson from that. So we don't do that anymore. You don't get $30,000 at closing. You might get $5,000 at closing. And you can go start the work, but you need to tell me how you're gonna spend that first $5,000 and then when you think you might need the next chunk of money and what you're gonna spend that on and when you think you'll need the next chunk after that. So all those small chunks of money are called draws. So let me know how you're gonna use those. I wanna make sure you got your contractors and your subs ready to work. They're lined up, ready to go, especially if you're not doing all that work yourself. I want to see your marketing plan, or at least a description of your marketing plan. How are you going to try to get this sold? And then do you have another exit strategy just in case? Remember how I talked about becoming an unintentional landlord? That was our plan B, and we had to use it because plan A didn't work out. Getting it sold didn't work out in 2009. So I want to know that you've got a backup plan just in case the original doesn't work. Next thing you got to do is prepare for closing. So find an attorney who specializes in real estate closings. If you have a cousin, Sam, who knows a little bit about real estate or normally does wills and trusts and stuff like that, might not be the best choice for this particular activity. Find a real estate attorney, please. Order a title search. Do you know what that is? What's title? Why would I care about a title search?
Shows ownership.
It shows ownership of the property, right?
You don't have a clean title, you can't resell it.
If you don't have a clean title, you cannot resell it. And actually, if you don't have a clean title, I'm not going to loan you the money for it to begin with.
Now, explain me what a clean title means.
Go ahead.
Because it's a different thing. People look at me, I'm like, oh, you should scrub it off. No, honey, that's not worded that way. Okay? We cannot have liens in there, and liens not only means that somebody had a loan in there. They also have people that somehow they insure the property and they never come back and say, oh, my great-great-great-granddaddy owned that house, now I want a piece of it. Mm-hmm. And they can have a claim on it because somebody never put together the proper paperwork to do it. Then you have also the contractor that didn't get paid. They can actually put a mechanic's lien against it. All those things. Oh, and then the best ones, taxes.
Tax liens, yes.
Oh, and it's not only taxes, property taxes, because it's also they come back and say, the IRS is Uncle Sam's like your money, and they want to have it, and they will put it there and keep it there until you pay for it. They don't take it out. If nobody tell you, oh no, it doesn't have, that is the only part that actually can survive a foreclosure. So be very careful because federal tax liens can survive a foreclosure.
Yeah. I got a horror story to tell you about this. I don't think I told you this one before. Okay, so I didn't make this loan. Let's see, back in 2016, a fellow up in Greenville approached me about making a loan for a house. And I had agreed to do it. I had already sent the money to the attorney. But I had not gotten proof that there was clear title yet. And the day that we were supposed to close, the attorney called me and said, we don't have clear title on this one. I cannot get you a lender's title insurance policy for it. Do you still want to proceed? And I said, no, absolutely not, because that tells me there's a problem that someone needs to fix before my guy buys that house. Well, so we stopped, and I told him to send my money back, and he did. However, the buyer was convinced that it was just a minor problem, and he found someone else to loan him the money who was not as concerned about title insurance, did not insist on it. So my guy, the buyer, buys this house. Come to find out, the problem was it was an estate issue. Someone had passed away. There were like 9 children involved, and they had not gotten all 9 children to sign off saying it's okay to sell this house. So they needed to do what's called a quiet title action to basically try to advertise and say, hey, any of you 9 kids or 14 grandkids that might have a stake in this property need to come forward and let us know now, or settle this out. They didn't. So the guy that was going to borrow money from me, that borrowed it from somebody else, what should I call him? I should just give him a name. Sucker. Let's call him Sucker. No, that's kind of harsh. Let me see. Joe. We'll call him Joe. Joe decided to go ahead and proceed without trying to start that quiet title action. The attorney had told me it would take 6 months to clear that up. Okay, to do all the advertising, put ads in the paper, wait for people to show up, and all that good stuff. They could have started it as soon as he bought the house, right? Could have started it before he bought the house, but they didn't do that. Joe decided he was just going to risk it. He spent a bunch of money fixing this house up. This is in Greenville, and current value, I think it's not on the MLS. It's done. It's finished. It's ready to be sold. But what's the problem? It can't be sold, right? Because it does not have a clear title. It can't be sold to anybody that needs a loan with a lender that's going to insist on title insurance. So this house is worth about $400,000. And it's sitting there, and it's beautiful now. So what's going to happen now if they go out and try to find those 9 kids and the 14 grandkids?
A piece of 400.
They might not have wanted a piece of that crummy little rundown house. Now that it's worth $400,000, right?
But don't the holding tax, the holding costs keep going up?
Yes. It's a
For a
mess.
$400,000 house now.
It's a mess. It is a mess.
This was
I mean,
in 2016,
yes.
it still hasn't
Correct.
resolved?
No. Like I said, it's not a. I'm telling you, at least I said no to that one. So I did not make that mistake. Someone else made that mistake, and I'm learning from their mistake. But
Is it
that
getting rented out right now?
No, it's vacant. It's beautiful. It's sitting there ready to be sold. It's just not on the MLS. And I guess they're hoping somebody's going to show up with some cash to buy that one. I don't know. It's
Hey, Adrian,
It's a
sounds
mess.
like it's first and last deal. All in one.
you would think, but no.
Sounds like the rehab is gonna be splitting his profit with 9.
He might be, yeah, he might be, yeah, I don't know, it's a mess. Because like I said, they should have started this early on. It would have been a whole lot easier to get someone to sign away their rights to the dumpy little rundown house.
So they still never opened like the estate?
They never did that quiet title action. Anyway, so it's a mess. You gotta look out for stuff like that. That's why I say, do a title search, see what's out there, get it cleared up before you try to buy it.
We're actually looking about that. There's several groups in the MLS, and I've seen it some places. Selling the property is a quick claim deed,
Ooh.
okay? They will not give you a clean title, and they just tell you quick claim, and it's cheap as heck. Please, don't fall for that. I mean, I have a lot of my clients come and ask me about it. I'm like, honey, you want to wait for 2 years? That's great. You can buy it. But a quick claim deed, coming out of a tax sale or coming out of a foreclosure that somebody bought in a, what do you call them when they call them?
Package or something.
In a package or something. And then they're trying to resell without doing absolutely nothing. Just be very careful.
Yeah, be careful.
There's a couple, I have seen 2 or 3 companies, they put them on the MLS, and the note says quit claim deed only.
You just need to be very careful in general because they could actually try to sell a property that they don't even own
Yeah.
with a quit claim deed. It would be a worthless deed because a quit claim deed is QUITCLAIM. Basically means I'm signing over whatever interest I have in this property. It's not guaranteeing that they really have any ownership of that property, okay? And it's definitely not insurable. You would not get title insurance for yourself as the owner or for your lender in that case. So, yeah, be very careful. I think some of that stuff is a scam. Just watch out for that. So always ask for a title search and a title insurance policy that will protect you as the owner and your lender as well. I'm glad we got into that discussion. I didn't know it was going to be that productive, but it's good stuff. Okay, if you're getting ready to buy something, you also need to have hazard insurance. Just like you would have car insurance on your car or homeowner's insurance on your own house, you need some kind of insurance on that dwelling. Typically, it needs to be a builder's risk policy or a vacant home policy. I think I discussed the risks of that last time we were together. Provide those declaration pages to the lender so that they know it's going to start the day of closing. And keep that in force the whole time you own that property. Don't let it. Some people like to do this month-to-month thing, which might be a little cheaper, but don't let it lapse. That's a no-no. As soon as you let that lapse, you're putting the lender's money at risk, and that's not, you're putting your own money at risk. That's not a good thing. Arrange for the utilities to be transferred over into your name, perform some inspections, whatever it is you think you need to do. Schedule your contractors, look into any permits that you might need to do the work, and then review the loan documents from the lender. Especially if this is Aunt Sally, make sure that you're comfortable with all that she's asking you to do with that loan. Then you get to complete the renovations. Speed is always important. Keep it moving. If you run into a problem with one thing, work on something else. Just don't stop. If you stop, then that really loses momentum, and that can start getting expensive. Use all the money that you receive from your lender as intended for this project. This is not for you to go out and buy a new truck, not for you to pay off your library fines, not for you to buy lottery tickets or whatever it is you think you might could do with that money. It's to work on that house, so make sure you spend it as intended on that house. Provide status reports every week or two to your lender. Let them know what's going on. Ask for inspections, because the lender needs to come out and take a look and see what you've done. Make sure it's all correct before they give you any more money. Give the lender the lockbox code. We personally like to do unscheduled inspections. If we're just out and about, we'll just drop in. I like to see that. I like to find that someone's working there. That's awesome. I get concerned when I don't see anybody there. So make sure that's all taking place. Keep your insurance and property taxes paid and current. I know a lot of you think, oh, I'll just wait till, the property taxes are due by January 15th, but the house is going on the market, it's going to sell quickly, I'm not going to pay them right now, I'll wait till closing. They just continue to add up, and you start getting into those penalties the longer you wait. And again, this is another way of putting the property at risk. I mean, Mark and I have had some unfortunate circumstances where we check the tax sale notices in the paper, and we found some of the homes that we've lent money on listed in the tax sale listing. That's not a good phone call to get. I'm not going to be happy if you hear from me after that.
Wait, so do you give the money to pay for the property taxes
No.
and insurance? Okay.
No. That's a good question, but no, we do not front money for people to pay the property taxes and insurance. You're supposed to budget for that with your initial budget. That's part of managing that project.
Yeah, so that just comes out of the regular fixed up costs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. We're not going to give you separate money for that. That's not our responsibility. Now, see, that's another difference, though, that the SCORE fellows can talk about. If you're doing a bank loan, they're probably going to escrow for taxes and insurance, right? So essentially, they're collecting a little bit from you every month to make sure that that stuff gets paid. That's another important difference. Send a link when the home is listed for resale, and invite us for a tour. We love to see the finished product. That's awesome. Then, when you're ready to sell it, once you get a contract, usually I get a phone call before that, and they say, what's the payoff on this loan if I'm going to sell it on April 1st? Because they'll get an offer, and it'll say, we're going to close within 30 days, and they want to know exactly what the payoff would be by that date. So I can tell them. But tell me when you get a contract signed and when you expect that payoff and sale to occur. You'll probably have to make some repairs after the buyer does their inspections. You always want to leave a couple of things wrong. Did I tell y'all that? You always don't want to leave a couple of little things, not big things, little things. Leave them. If there's a leaky faucet, just stick a bucket up under there and let it leak. That's pretty easy to fix. I know one guy had some damaged hinges on the cabinet doors in the kitchen. And I asked him, I said, are you going to fix that? He said, no, I'm going to leave it for the inspector. Because the inspectors are going to look for things. Let's face it, right? So they're getting paid $300 to come inspect that house. They're going to find something. If you leave them some easy stuff that you already know how to fix, you've already got budgeted to fix, then they can, write all that stuff up, and they feel like they earn their money, and the buyer feels like the inspector earned their money, and everybody's happy. If you don't leave a couple of little things for them to find, they're just going to keep digging until they find something, and it's probably going to be a lot more expensive. So, that's my advice. Okay. Go ahead and do the big things. Go ahead and do the big things. Keep the lender posted, especially if there's a delay. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of those happening lately. I don't know why, but sometimes the buyers are backing out. Sometimes the buyers get approved for the loan, home loan, and then they go out and buy 2 rooms worth of furniture and set up a charge account to do that. That all of a sudden throws their debt to income ratio out of whack, and they don't qualify anymore. Or they do
A lot of real estate agents are allowing them to continue to shop after they make an offer, which is a damn shame is what it is. You ain't
Yes.
got enough balls to talk to your clients and tell them no, then you shouldn't be a real estate agent.
Well, that's one of the things that I don't like of the new contract that it provides. Now, they took out the clause that you needed to have an inspection or a real reason to back out of the contract. So within the first 10 days, I don't tell that to my buyers because I don't want them backing out, okay? But it's not on the contract, you can back out for any freaking reason. No, you don't have to give them anything else. I think David was the one who told me that people will just come up with a contract because the houses are not that many houses on the second price range. They will just put it on the market, take a contract there, and then find something else. Oh, we just can't.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. I'm hearing a lot of that houses are falling out of contract. So keep us informed. It's not a problem. We just need to know. I actually don't mind because that still means I'm collecting interest. It doesn't really bother me. I'm okay with that unless I promised it to somebody else. So I need to know that. And then finally, make sure your lender receives the payoff from closing. Ask them for feedback on how it went, if there's any way to improve for the next one. You're trying to build a relationship here. And that's what we want to do too. We want to have consistent people in our borrowing list that we can trust to take the money, do what they're supposed to do with it, make their profit, and then pay us back. Everybody's happy. We do it all over again. So this is the best time. Trust me. The day I get the wire transfer for the payoff is the best day to ask me for another loan. Absolutely, because I'm happy that day. It's like I just got my paycheck. Right? So please, go ahead and do that. Build that relationship. So the other fellows are going to tell you about institutional loans and other sources of financing. I'm kind of a fan of this private lending thing because it's so flexible. It's so customizable for your situation. Everything is negotiable. Do make sure that you understand everything that you're signing on for because you're still making a legal commitment. When you sign a promissory note and a mortgage, you're still committing those funds to be repaid at a certain rate of interest in a certain time frame. So you need to understand everything. Mark gets on to me because I read everything. I read every word on those legal documents. It is annoying. The attorneys get mad at me because I take so much time, but I'm going to read it. If I'm going to sign it, I want to know what I'm signing.
So what do you put on the term sheet that's not in the note? What do you put on your term sheet that's not in the note? Should the note have all the details?
It should, yes. But I'm just saying, I use the term sheet up front. When I agree to fund a loan, I go ahead and I send that out up front and say, okay, this is what you're agreeing to.
Right, but it's really the note that binds it.
It is really the note that binds it, I guess. And then bottom line, if a deal goes sideways, which can happen, let's face it, this is the real world, things go wrong. If the deal goes sideways, a private lender can work with you to try to salvage it. I mean, we ultimately want you to be successful. And we're trying to support folks like you who are trying to get into real estate, make a difference in your communities, and improve your own financial situation. I mean, I love what we do because I feel like we're helping folks like you improve your status and improve your situation. I also feel like it helps the community because the houses look better, they get people in them, they're not just abandoned and sitting there decaying. So it helps the neighborhoods and the communities get better. It just helps bring everybody up. So I love what we do, and if there's some way we can work with you to make it better and to correct that problem, we will. So in terms of summarizing, for a private loan, we need to know more about the property. I'm not going to ask you that many questions about your credit score, your bank account balances, your credit cards. I want to know about the property primarily. I do want to know that you've got some experience or that you're working with a mentor to coach you through it. I do need some information about that company that you set up. It's the brand new thing, and I want to make sure you're doing all the correct steps with that. I want to make sure you got a solid plan and an exit strategy for that project. But primarily the lending decisions are based on the property. So it's okay. It's a, again, I think it's a great option for getting people into real estate investment without that huge commitment. Any questions?
Adrian, what's the normal time for you start to end?
Well,
I know that can vary, but maybe a range?
we like to do that pre-approval step. Way back when I talked about pre-approval, that meeting, face-to-face meeting, I can do that anytime. Honestly, we can do that anytime you're ready to do that. Well, I would like to do that well before you have the deal burning a hole in your pocket. Okay, because I get people that call me up and say, hey, I got this contract. I'm supposed to close by, let's see, next week. And I can't do much at that point. That's a tough situation for everybody. So I'd like to get that pre-approval step out of the way as soon as you're ready, whenever you're ready. But then after you find a deal and start sending us information about that, you get the contract signed. It typically takes 7 to 10 days to do the title search and do all the attorney's background work. And then it would take maybe another 3 to 4 business days for us to get the funding lined up. So 2 weeks typically. If it's near the end of the month, the attorneys might push it out another week because they get piled up at the end of the month. Okay? Any other questions? I'm going to let you fellas take it over. Okay. There were a couple more slides on this point.
Thanks, Adrian, appreciate it. Hey, Dave, I got a couple of screens, but I'm not sure if you're using this. So I'm going to make the PDFs available at our website, okay, so that'll help you out some. All right, PDFs as well as recording of the presentation.
Thank you.
If I don't, by the way, if I don't answer the phone the first time, it's because I don't know your phone number. Leave me a voicemail, I'll call you back one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You want this one?
No, let's put the other.
Okay, if you need, Jay, if you need to switch it. Want to click
Okay,
it back?
yeah, Ralph will take that. Bob, we appreciate the invite. There's nothing else those guys with a lot of decades of experience. Love to see the energy and the dynamic activity. When you hang around with a lot of old guys, you get what kind of medication you're on, what kind of surgery you had last week. So it's good to see that. And I think I've been a SCORE mentor for about 10 years. Ralph just recently joined up with us. And what we do, we help people start a business or small businesses that want to grow. And I put this up here because you'd be amazed at the number of people that start out in business or want to start a business and they absolutely don't have any plan. And I always tell people, you know, most of us are football fans. When Spurrier went down to play the Citadel, he had one game plan. When he plays Alabama, that's a whole different game plan. And that's why a plan is so important. Some of the horror stories I've seen, people have lost $700,000 worth of an IRA. They spent less time looking at a business than they would for a vacation. Or people, you know, I had a young guy that had saved $40,000 out of the Navy. It took him 9 years. He came out and he literally had it blown in 6 months. He didn't even think to have a plan. He wanted to sell high-end ladies' shoes in Greenwood. Had a beautiful shop. He's showing me pictures of it. And about the 5th one, I said, well, where's the shoes? He said, well, that's why I'm here. I ran out of money. You know, I paid a lease. I've got this place painted. It's beautiful. Now, again, the premise, guy coming out of the Navy, never sold anything. He goes to Greenwood, South Carolina to sell high-end women's shoes. What do you think? Is there a problem? So, the first thing we talked to Bob about is please get a plan together. A lot of people think it has to be 15 or 20 pages. It doesn't. You know, it might be 5 pages. Some of the most crisp plans we see are just, what do you want to accomplish? What's it going to take to get there? And how much money do you need? And oh, by the way, what are you going to use the money for? It's amazing how those basics don't get addressed. I had a lady come in and had $88,000 worth of debt on 9 credit cards. She started a business that way. She told me, well, it's free for 12 months. This was 3 months in. She had not paid a dime of principal in 3 months. What do you think she was going to have paid in 12 months? And she had no idea what the interest was. The top one was 23.9. Right up there with Adrian's rates, right?
Wait a minute. Are you saying I can get 23.9?
Hey, you can do it in 2 weeks. But anyway, the point is, please, whatever you do, decades of experience here. Don't learn the hard way. Put a plan down. It's not that tough. Most of you have that plan in your mind. You've been thinking about it sometimes for years. Maybe not that long in many cases here. But if you see the property, it doesn't hurt to lay it out and kind of look at the negatives. And then I think for anybody that's a rookie in this area, there's so many pitfalls. And Adrian touched on a lot of them. You know, what's plan B? You know, when you're in business, you got to have plan A. But if that's not working, you better have plan B. Or it doesn't hurt to have plan C.
Yep.
Ralph's got some stories where, okay, plan B is not working out the way you want it. Because it's money and time, and it just keeps moving on. And it's your money in most cases, or the clock is ticking, and it will be, you know, your debt. So I'm not sure today. I guess I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask. How many of you have actually done real estate deals? Yeah, raise your hands. Okay. I think this will kind of help too. And how many of you have ever, on those real estate deals, hold your hands up again, how many of you have borrowed from a bank? Okay, so you got a good flavor there. And I guess those of you that didn't hit a bank, where did you find your money? I guess JD says he's got a banker and he's not even used them. He's got a reserve there. But how about the rest of you? Where did you get your money from if you didn't get it from a bank? Adrian?
Personal savings, investments,
Okay.
other sources we can't disclose.
Yeah, well, what's the old story? What happens here stays there, right? But many people that can't get a bank loan, they're using the equity in their house. But remember, the bank will take that house. You're risking your house for a business deal. You better be damn certain that that deal is going to work for you, because a bank will take your house. Maybe reluctantly, but it can still be taken. You know, friends, again, you're jeopardizing somebody else's money. You better look at your numbers, make certain that's good, because it's, most of us are a little more spendthrift with our money than our family or friends. Hopefully that's the case if you're lending to them. I don't know if you found that to be true, Adrian, but we've seen that down at school. So from the standpoint of going to a bank, for those of you that haven't had that pleasure, and I've worked with bank, part of that decades he's talking about, 40 years, had big loans, big money, big lines of credit, and you know, they want your credit score. They don't even talk to you until you sign off and check the credit score. I did have a guy out of Orangeburg. He needed money. He had a 550 credit score. I was amazed that the bank would even talk to him, but he got $65,000. Now it took 6.5 months, but if you've got a 550 credit score, man, you're swimming upstream. But he eventually got the money and he badly needed it. Probably the longest deal I had was with SBA. You know, they're very supportive of land, buildings, but this deal took 9.5 months to get $935,000, and I swore I'd never do another one. And if I'd have had hair, I'd look like this after that. It was so frustrating. But they do. If you have land and buildings for a business, the SBA can be, and the benefit there is you got a $400,000 loan, the SBA can guarantee up to 75% of it, so the bank risk goes down to $100,000, so the banks love that. So if you have, you know, businesses loans, they're not into flipping or rentals in most cases. But anyway, so when you start looking at a bank, you're going to be looking at credit risk. You got to have 3 years of tax returns for yourself and your business. You got to have a net worth statement, just your balance sheet, and that's just a picture of what you're worth at a particular point in time. Your assets, individual assets, personal assets, less your, you know, notes, mortgages, credit card bills. And of course, they want a business plan. They want to know where that money's going. You know, if you're asking for $200,000, you've got to be able to detail what are you going to use the money for. And the bad news with real estate that you're not going to live in or something is very, very difficult other than apartment rentals. If you have a 6-way rental, even quads they won't touch, but if you have 6 apartments or more, many times the bank will finance that. But again, Adrian talked about 2 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks is probably great. Most banks are going to find a hard time to do any kind of a note in less than 90 days. So I don't know if there's any particular questions about the banks. I'd love to give you some of that decades of experience with the bank. But if there's any particular questions there, at SCORE we have found Synovus and Security Federal to really mean that they want to support small business. And we're advocates of everybody having a line of credit, you know, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000. A line of credit gives you the opportunity. You know, the guy with the cash or the gal with the cash makes the rules. And if you have a line of credit that you can react to, you know, you heard some numbers today, $25,000 or $50,000. If one of those deals is perfect for you and you got that line of credit, guess what? You got that taken care of tomorrow morning. You don't have to go asking for something. So over time, you want to develop a line of credit that can make you more, you know, just improve your return. So if you're not familiar with that, that's where I'm a big advocate of credit unions. I think they treat people far better than most banks. I've not dealt with private investors to any large degree. I've been an angel investor myself and understand how difficult it is to come up with capital. And a lot of people don't understand why it's so difficult to get a loan. I have people coming down at SCORE that want a 100% loan for their business. And when you ask them, well, you're not putting any money in this and you expect the bank to lend you $100,000. Think about that. You're not going to put your money in, but you want a bank to lend you $100,000. Why would any bank ever do that? Unless you're buying property for $150,000 collateral, right? They'll be glad to do that kind of deal. So the banks are tough. Other than you're living in a condo or a home, you know, they love those kind of deals. They're going to be very competitive rates because of a good deal. If you've got a good deal, every bank in town wants it. You know, if you're stretching, nobody wants it. I mean, it's just the cold hard facts of the way the banking world is today. It's gotten a lot tougher in the last year and a half. The bankers tell me they were a lot more concerned today than they were a year and a half ago about the economy and where things are going. So what happens, they just tighten everything. You know, they make it harder. They increased the standards. I would dare say my guy that had a $550,000 or 550 credit score would probably not get that 65,000 today. That was 3 years ago he got it. So anyway, I don't know if anybody got any questions or comments on the plan.
I don't know if you're going to address this or not, but for the people who aren't familiar with SCORE, what differentiates SCORE from the SBA, and the other many organizations that provide help to people who want to start a business?
Well, the SCORE is basically a volunteer organization. We have 12,000 plus mentors around the states, 300 different offices. We've got about 25 people that work out of the Columbia office, and we're all volunteers. We primarily, we admire everybody, as Jesse Waters would say, this world, people that have the guts to go out and start a business and do it on their own, whether it's, you know, real estate or starting your own business. It's some of the most satisfying things in the world, I think, to start your own business or run your own show. But it takes a lot of courage, and it's getting tougher all the time from my decades of experience. 30 years ago, it was pretty easy to step into things, even 20 years ago. But the last 15 years, I think it's gotten tougher and tougher. Capital's tougher, you know, consequence, the regulations, and it takes a lot more. You know, listen to Adrian, all the pitfalls of just buying a transaction, one piece of property. Look at all the pitfalls. And every one of them can cost you money. And until you have experience or a mentor that can really help guide you and really is concerned about your interests, you know, it's just very easy to cost yourself a lot of money and get sideways or upside down on something. Any other comments?
Well, yeah, what I was looking for, one of the biggest things, most of the people in SCORE have been in business for themselves or in corporate America versus when you go to the SBA or some of the other organizations, many of them have never jumped off that cliff. Yeah. So that's one of the things that SCORE offers.
I'd say the vast majority have, I take that for granted, but the vast majority, you know, have either started businesses, ran businesses, clearly have borrowed a lot. I mean, we had a guy, Johnny Jackson, who started Jackson Camera. You know, Johnny had 7 stores at one time. He read the tea leaves, saw what was coming, and sold his stores, the used film, and bought a nice place down at Edisto with profits there. So again, he understood what was coming. The person that bought the store is down to 1 store today. So you have a lot of people that have made a lot of money in business or investing, and there are people that just admire and love businesses and really respect the people that are out there trying to run their own show. And you know, and you name it, we have bankers, general managers, independent people, you know, all types of people. We got a few PhDs, even if you really want to get cerebral, you know, they can help you out. Ralph, you might tell them a little about your background from
yeah, my background is I've been a healthcare executive for over 20 years, but also was born and raised overseas. So what got me into, you know, also that David approached me and asked me if, you know, to be here today is I was living in Southwest Florida for a couple of years, and there was a big thing going on with all the foreign investors, especially after the market turned, and I was turned upside down. Probably you know about that big deal. So that it was all a cash market. So all the folks coming from overseas had the cash. So what happens? They bought a bunch of the normally or preferably the one with the Gulf access down there, you know. And we had to educate them. So what I did is we educated them on the financing part, because over there, there's no such thing like credit history. So they didn't understand why they have like $500,000 available and they don't get it done over here. So this is part of the time that I you know spend in helping them out. also, consulting them and saying what would be the best strategy. Also, if they had a long-term investments, how to incorporate properly, or having those folks available, putting them into a trust fund if they have a family that they want to take it on. But this is kind of, my background, but I can just relate to what you said, and that's one by one what she says. Basically what she wants to know about before she gives you any money is basically what we can help with. What's the plan? Think about a plan B, because she wants to know, and you better have a nice sheet of paper, and like I said, it doesn't have to be 20, 30, 40 pages. If those are essential, go on 5 pages, but it tells exactly that you put a lot of thoughts into it, you know what you're doing, and she feels comfortable to say, okay, if that tells me, if somebody comes up with a written plan, that tells me somebody is already determined and wants to go and do the next step, instead of just having a nice talk and then she asked the question and I said, yeah, I was thinking about it, and I think then by the laughing on your face, it's like it goes from 50-50 maybe to 30-70, I would assume.
Any questions or comments? I mean, one of the reasons I ask questions is just kind of gauge the experience. I think there's a lot more real estate experience here than we anticipated coming in, and I think clearly the banks and the credit unions is not something that's really going to be much assistance for any of you. I did have, Synovus was very interested in one of my guys and gals that owned 13 homes, debt-free, and they were looking for $1 million line of credit. You think that was a hard loan to do? Every bank in town would do that deal, right? 13 places, I think the average was like 180,000, no problem. But that's the problem with the banks, they're going to lend the money to people that truly are no risk, because they're just so risk adverse in today's environment. But having a plan is the single biggest thing I've seen in 10 years. And like I said, I had a couple that lost $703,000 out of an IRA. They had no business plan. They had zero business ever getting in business. And it was absolutely sickening. They probably, like I said, they probably spent more time planning a vacation than they did risking that $703,000. SCORE's all about, if you think about going to the ocean, we kind of wade in and get your toe, your ankle, your knee. We do not want you to risk any more of your hard-earned money than you absolutely have to. You see people at the beach all the time just run and tear into it. And I've got horror stories with folks that approach business that way. And if nothing else tonight, we've got some copies of SCORE brochures and this plan. It's very simple, it's very concise, it's on the internet. And just for your own benefit, I have people tell me all the time, I don't need a business plan, the bank needs that, I'm not going to the bank. That's crazy. If you're going to risk your money, put it down on paper, think about the consequence, make certain you have a plan D if A isn't working out. If Adrian hadn't had a plan and they hadn't been prepared to rent that property, where would they be? Are they going to lose it? If they stretch themselves so far that they head for bankruptcy? I mean, we see it frequently, and there's no reason for it. There's just no reason. Anyway, any comments or questions? Bob, if there's anything else you felt we should be touching on? I mean, we really thought that more a dialogue. We do this at Fort Jackson with people that want to move into businesses for a 5-week thing, and there's a lot of questions out of the military in particular that they know what a mission is. They make great candidates for getting into business. Hardworking, dedicated. In fact, when we're out there at Fort Jackson, we always say, who's taking these people's place? You have all this experience. 22 people are getting out in a matter of a couple of months. Sure.
Yeah, I do have a question actually. I've never gotten a SCORE mentor myself, but how is a mentor chosen for me if I sign up for it?
You can go on the internet to score.org, and
Yeah,
it's
let's
got
sign
the
up.
backgrounds.
It has to, so basically is you have the variety of all the mentors that are working either way in the chapter or, at SCORE at a total. It's all the, all their backgrounds. So it depends on what you're looking for specifically, somebody who already was into real estate or somebody who is, in the bank sector. So you can pretty much, narrow down your search and then also contact one of the SCORE members and they said like, okay, I might be a 50% fit, but I know somebody else who might be a 90% fit.
Oh, so I can choose a mentor?
You
Yeah,
can.
absolutely, yeah. For instance, I have a number of folks that needed a digital marketing guy. I had a veterinarian that wanted to break $1 million, he wanted to do it with digital marketing. So we have a guy down there who's got his own business for 15 years, who's trying to wind his down, and took him out there, and of course I learned more about digital marketing because decades ago, what was digital marketing? Wasn't there. But anyway, we have people that have almost any background you're looking for, and we do tend to double or triple team folks. We've had as many as 5 folks. We had 5 brothers, and we figured we needed 5 mentors in a transportation business, and we're trying to pass it on 2 generations. So there were 5 of us just kind of on the land, but if we find we need a marketing person or somebody that knows manufacturing, or you're trying to get a patent or a trademark or something like that, there's people that have that experience, and it is free. So from that standpoint, the price is right, and again, you get some really sound, experience. You may have to listen to some more stories. I warn people about that up front, talking about the great things that we've done over those decades of experience. But it's hard to beat experience. And those of you that have been in this, one of the gals said she'd been doing this 14 years. What she knows today after 14 years compared to those first couple years, it's light years of difference. You can't replace experience. And in real estate, I think the way the dynamics, the way it's changed over the last 10 years in particular, again, I'm just sitting there, I marvel at the things that Adrian was covering and how many opportunities you have to get things screwed up. There's scams going on right now where homes are being sold that people just go onto the internet, take a deed, make a false deed, sell it, a bank, and all of a sudden the homeowner, the person that owns that home, has been scammed out of their house. How does that happen? But it's going on right now. I haven't read about any in Columbia, but it's happening in New York all over the place. I mean, people that want to scam you out of your money.
But that's common here on rental scams. They post properties when a lot of my listings are listed on Craigslist.
Yeah.
And they tell them, oh, just send me $500 because usually I'm in the military and I can't be there, but I will mail you the key. Oh, and don't worry about the sign there. It's just I got in a fight with my real estate agent, and I don't talk to her.
Right. Well, that's why I think what she and Bob have both been saying, deal with somebody that's been down this path, and if it doesn't feel right, let your common sense prevail. Never go against your gut, and common sense is the strongest indicator, I think, in so many cases. And it never hurts to ask a question. Bob's got a lot of knowledge there and if he doesn't, he probably knows someone in the group that can address the particular issue, much like we do at SCORE. Anything else there, Bob? I left the copies of this, a hard copy. You go to score.org and pull up the plan. I would encourage you to do that. Anybody that would like to try a mentor down there, pick up one of the brochures. brochures and go in. And we have, like I say, we have about 25 different people mentoring. And, you know, got some business cards there. Ralph has his card here. He's got a background in real estate that might be helpful to some of you newbies.
Business plan.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions?
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Great.
Okay.
Okay, I guess that kind of concludes the meeting. And next month we have scheduled a guy named Chad Whedon, a local boy doing good. Tell us a little bit about how he set up the systems. He sent me a text claiming he works only 2 hours a day. This I got to say. But thanks for coming, and we hope to see you next time.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, if everyone could, in your seat there's like a little flyer. You know, if you could, go ahead and take one home. If you want to throw it away, be my guest. But, you know, I got to use these things up. Want to use it for fire? You know,
Thank you, my friend.
oh, yes.
You know, I'm a fan.
I appreciate you saying
You know, I was sitting back here thinking there's so many things I would love to say, but you wouldn't allow it. We're much farther along in our business than we would have ever been without you. We're signing 3 contracts for it's unbelievable. To see what we're doing, and you know, your knowledge, your willing to share. And, you know, we had been sick and this and that and the other, we'd be a little, down the road a little bit more. Anyway, thank you so much.
When do you close on 113?
My dues are due. As soon as, well, here's the deal. It's we're going a different route. Okay. They told us we had to have this document from the attorney. Well, we're not getting any cooperation from anybody. So what we did is we created an addendum.
Yeah, I got it. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So you don't know when we get that?
I should find out tomorrow. I think we can close this week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's in everybody's interest. I mean, they get their loan paid off, they get out from under that.
There's a loan?
Yeah, we pay that.
I thought they owned the house for 45 years, right?
Which house we talking about?
113, Hermo. Same one you're talking about.
Cotswold.
Yeah, Cotswold.
Yeah, we're paying off their mortgage. That's part of the deal because they're both on it and there's infighting about it.
Will the mortgage be satisfied at closing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you get a clear title.
Oh, no, I understand. I didn't know if you were paying off your mortgage and then reselling it, or how you were doing that.
It depends on the deal. So yeah, we're doing that actually.
I understand. And then the house in Hopkins. That's
yeah.
The owner's financing. Is Dave here?
We own it.
Yeah.
No, Dave wouldn't. That's something we closed on already.
Yeah.
And we had to wait till we got cleaned out.
Yeah.
And people moved out. And all that kind of stuff. I'm getting ready to put probably $1,000 in landscaping in it because we're planning to put it on the MLS. It's got a lockbox on it if you want to go by and look at it.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. I gotta get the money. I gotta get the money from somewhere.
Right, sure.
So, I'm talking to Dave about. I don't know if he got with you or not about doing under financing. Is that something you'd be able to do?
We could do some of it. We couldn't do it all.
Okay. All right. And you actually own that now? So you own
We closed on it
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. Is this the only that list you handed me? Is that all you had?
That 5 houses.
5 houses.
Yeah. I'm looking at one tomorrow and one Thursday. And I don't know, because the guy's with me, he's looking at houses too, so I don't know what all we'll put under contract. You know, our goal is to buy 3 to 5 houses a month, move them 3 to 5 the next month and stuff like that. And I've got an offer on 3 of those houses already. Verbal offer. Everything right.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to closing.
Yeah, you got cards? Okay, it's okay.
I don't hand out cards. You got my email though. You got my email.
Thank you.
That's why I bring this 7. Hey, Clayton. This is the daughter of the son. Wait, I'm sorry. You don't want to get a selfie.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah. See, that's my mom. What's your name again? I'm Clayton. Nice to meet you. I think I've seen you on Facebook or something too. How are you? You wholesale houses or what are you doing? Yeah. I'll just text you. You finish up with 10. Just text me the address here and we'll come up with it. Thank you. Appreciate it. You too.
Say hi to your mom.
We'll do.
Maybe we have a lot of people asking about taxes because they're just definitely trying to get to terms and reality versus what's out there. And but I heard about this, I heard about this probates and every method comes with some type of risk, right? Share the nation.
50 and baby, I can't get a lot of that. Should be like 5 fruits at a time, not 4.
Just think about it, and you hear myself.
You want motivated sellers. Okay, you only want to deal with motivated sellers. Non-motivated ones are solid.
But this lady, that's the reason she's going to sell her relative. She probably trying to get all the money she can out of the house. You know what I mean? Trying to.
She's not motivated.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You know how to find motivated sellers? No. Give you an example. This is one of my on screen there. Okay. Let me show you something real quick here. Okay, there's something called okay, this here is the treasure trove information. All right. me show you something real quick. This is scporch.org. You do a record search here. Okay, and which is yours, Richland or Lexington?
Richland.
Okay, Richland County?
29206.
Okay, now, this is one thing I teach people. It's easier to, okay, see that list pendants? That list pendants button pulls up foreclosure. You're looking for motivated sellers first, and then you're back into the property. When I'm looking for motivated sellers, I don't care what the property is until I talk to them. The first things first, you gotta have motivated sellers. You got no motivated sellers, you get nothing. So this lady here, she's not motivated.
She does want to sell. She does want to.
On average, does she want to sell? Does she want to sell? Does she need to sell?
She needs to sell. She's trying to sell and move out.
That's the case then. You gotta probe a little deeper. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Because if she, for example, let me show you something. Okay? This is a house here. This is a house that appraised for okay, the reason I'm showing you this one here is this is not normal. This is one of my better deals, cash deals I should say. Okay? But I'm gonna show you what you can do when you find a motivated seller. All right? Okay, this is actually my second residence. My primary residence is technically Aiken.
Aiken? You stay in Aiken?
No, Lexington. Let me show you something. I have the official appraisal for this. This house appraised back in 2004 for $71,000. Okay, and let me show you something. Back in 2004, for $71,000, the appraisal had sold for $69,000. Okay, you can see here to Ricky and Kathy. Okay, now this here is a glitch. They recorded this wrong, but I'm not going to argue with them. Okay, the deed's recorded correctly. Okay, I don't want people in the public record to see who owns it. Just take a look. Look what I ended up buying it for. That's why I use it myself. It's so cheap. The reason is because I found a motivated seller first.
I'll be in touch with you later.
Okay, sounds good.
I can't do that shit. Fucking river dance guy.
And we still got to get that. We still got to get the website and whatnot.
I'll email you and see what day you have bandwidth.
Yeah.
I want to take that many breakfast, lunch, or million cups, or.
Okay. Yeah, we need to find out. I'm still up in the air what D'Angelo and Keisha want to do.
Yeah. We just put something simple on there, and maybe with permission, put some buyers on there, and just kind of flesh some of it out. So, they don't seem interested in doing what they need to. And I don't want to do it all by myself. I have too much fun coming to a real man part of it, you know.
Let me know. And also, if need be, bring back Terry and like you said.
I'll call him and see. I'll call him and report what I know. See what he's saying.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you being here.
No, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Anyway. I didn't know my size was. This house is 3.5 miles from the center of Lexington. That's why I do my research. Any deals are good deals. I don't give a shit what it is.
So, this is my what zip code?
I don't give a shit. Any deals are built right now. You know, the first rental house I bought in Aiken was actually a house I lived in, and I turned it into rental. Someone had to give me $4,000 to take it off his hands. That happens, but because he was motivated. Now, he was a banker up in Charlotte. Okay, his wife, they're divorced, was a realtor in Aiken. I'm guessing she suckered him to buy the store. They had a $35,000 mortgage on it. I said it was 31. And he bought $4,000 and closed and paid it off. So that's what happens when you find a motivated seller. This is why this lady, maybe she's motivated, maybe she's not. You can tell she's not motivated. I say, thank you, ma'am. Let me know if the situation changes. And it's okay, I'll check with you periodically to see if you have stuff set. Put on a follow-up every month. I showed you pre-foreclosure because I'm looking, I don't give a shit where the property is. I just want the motivated sellers first. When they call, I want to hear them tell me what's going on in their lives. What can I fix or help them fix if they sell their house to I just showed you pre-foreclosure. Number one motivated. They're probably the most motivated, but they're also the toughest, in my opinion, can be the toughest leads to work because the banks stay attached to them. But from that that's the reports I showed you, you also find entire landlords, because that's where you find convictions, okay? Also, bankruptcies, dismissed bankruptcies, not discharged, dismissed. Another one's probates, okay? See this deal here? This was actually a probate. I didn't know it was a probate. Turned out it was a probate. See, the reason she let it go for so much, the story, I found out later the story, actually, I kind of found out during the story behind that was this. My husband Rick was a military contractor in Afghanistan. And they bought the house for $69,000 back in 2004. Okay? He came back from Afghanistan. I was told he came back with $300,000 cash. So he paid off the house and started improving it. He became sick. I don't know what it was, maybe cancer or died. And I was told by the neighbor across the street, she was never into the house, into the neighborhood. She was from Indiana. So, as soon as her husband was buried or cremated or however, whatever she did with him, she scooted. She went back home to Indiana. The house was a mess. And it wasn't food mess, nasty mess. It was like clothes, dry stuff. Okay? So, I met her, when I saw the house, she calls me back later, 2 weeks later, she demanded an offer. This is the seller's demanding me I make an offer. It's okay, $9,500. Yeah. And then it's okay, $9,500. And she goes, okay. I said, no shit. Okay, so I bought it and I used for my second house.
$9,500?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Where's it located?
So, let me show you something real quick here. Okay, I'll show you on the map here. Now, I'm not saying that's usual though. You can get creative like subject to deals and stuff.
Yeah, creative deals.
Yeah, I specialize more in the creative stuff.
Oh, you more creative stuff?
Yeah, I have 20 rentals right now. Most of them are held by a technique called subject to. Okay, you ever heard of subject to? Okay, you can kind of see here.
I read your bio. I read your bio. You said you were a civil engineer and stuff like that.
Well, my undergrad was mechanical. My grad school, my graduate degree, my master's in civil. Okay, this is where the house is. Okay.
You said you made what is it? $30,000 wholesale deal.
Yeah, it was a third of my annual salary, like 45 minutes of time. At the time I was single, and my boss was she was a big man. So when I did that, I said,
how do you get that first deal?
That can possibly be the hardest deal. Okay. Once you get your first deal, the trap I fell into was all of a sudden all the deals started coming, and I made some big deals on some future ones. Okay. The first one, you just stand on wait. Remember I showed you that line. Okay. Everything, failure and success look the same until a certain point one day. The second. Remember I showed you that? Okay, anyway. Are you familiar with Lexington?
Lexington? No, not much.
Okay. Okay, well, what I was showing you there, okay, okay, this is I-20, okay? If you go past I-20 here to the center, oops, close this here. It's in the center of town. Short story, it's 3.5 miles right from the center of Lexington. I do it. My wife works in town, so Unfortunately, lived in Columbia, as you can imagine. So how much, same thing, most of my research is electric. My main target market is electric.
Like everybody else, we did the other side, yeah, I see that.
I'll do Richland, I much prefer electric.
Yeah, Richmond, I stay around Richmond.
Yeah, so look for the motivated seller first.
Yeah, motivating, yeah, people that really want to sell, yeah.
Yeah, ask yourself, you're not looking for property, you're looking for a situation. Okay, a motivated seller.
What's the Midlands REIA website?
Oh, it's midlandsrea.com.
That's where all the cash buyers are?
Yeah, you have to log in. If you don't log in, it's going to
Full garden, got you subdivided.
right before my phone.
You say midlandsrea.com?
I'll give you a call and talk to
Let's go. Yes.
You look familiar. Do you live on the northeast side of town? I know. I've seen you for quite some time. I'm Trisha, by the way. So, no, say it again? No bill. Got you. Okay. Very nice. So you new into this? Okay. Same time. That's us too. We were good maybe a year-ish, and we're still trying to get all the pieces of the puzzle together. So. Honestly, initially first we were trying to resell, but we found something. So we know it definitely, if it makes sense. Yeah, but, right. But we kind of overanalyzed too much, Yeah. We come from healthcare backgrounds, so the risk is always greater than anything else, so we're trying to be range match and walk by those guys. So it's kind of one of those where it's like, okay, there's going to be a risk involved, but at the same time, everybody we're talking to will stop and assess it or stuff. Just make sure your numbers are and we're like, we don't feel bad about our numbers because, we're used to doing numbers and budgets and managing those and opening doctor's offices and hospitals and all that stuff. So I think it's now just a matter of just do it. Just do it. See what Yeah, we have a spreadsheet, but we do it both ways. So we'll do it manually so it sticks here, and then we'll put it in a spreadsheet and make sure that it matches 70-30 plus, and we feel pretty good about numbers.
Some people use contractors, some people use softwares, automated.
Yeah. How have you done yours? Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Nice. Very nice. Gotcha. Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. Yep, you go right ahead. Fairly new. We did the numbers on the house. We were probably very gracious repairs. Yes. Repairs are probably 35,000.
You're nice.
Well,
What price do you want?
I asked him to be 45, this is what it is. So he go and sit there.
Right now, all you got to do is for a grant.
This Keller Williams guy. He's gonna start using my number there in court.
He said he did not.
I just say, okay, 45 minutes, just get the contract, just like before the affidavit. Now, is this for yours?
He knows my family. Today's first day I've ever met him. And it was by chance. So we were just in conversation, and he starts telling me about the houses, and I said, I never did as well. He's like, well, your name, you're not from around here. And I said, well, that was my married name. Here's my maiden name. He's like, oh my gosh, you know your parents. His name's all my uncles and my cousins, and I'm like, yeah, you do know my family. She knows people, knows people. He's done with the house. He got it as a foreclosure. And that was back in 2012, 13. Got his a foreclosure deal. Let it out a time or two. Didn't get a rental on the boats. Had it for took it back, long process. He's now got it back under his control. He even called me this afternoon and said, I forgot to tell you, here's the attorney at Delaware that's going to file for the courthouse. You can see that I now have control back over his house.
It's gonna be early on.
So technically, you know how you say you were the spouse? Okay. I don't know. But I mean, now I'm sure I could call a family member or two and they would give me the scoop. Yeah.
See, I think that's a good sell.
If he's marketing that house.
He did it on, he did put it on for sale by 5 days ago. For sale by I don't know, that's what I would, because this price on the, for sale by owner site, it's the price, the same price that some guy put on.
Stevenson, the Keller Williams. So the Stevenson guy, he put it on. If it's on real don't get me wrong, there are some listed properties that have all of this, but most likely probably not that price.
How do you do that, Ron?
You don't pay me enough to do this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so if it's on Realtor.com, then you guys will.
Well, he's got his little frosting. He's a preacher. You went, can't say that he's not.
Total versus Christian.
Well, there you go. Can't say that he's not. Can't say that. He got into rental house 7 years back to all of his purchase.
I just didn't want
And
to
he
get
has
that
offloaded
now.
all of them except 2 now. This one and one more.
You know, there's a preacher down in Aiken. His name's Jerry Tyndall, and he owns the Victorian Wedding Chapel. A small cottage.
Yeah, because he said, I was like, well, he's
He's so Oh, no, Tricia Julie.
Yeah, we were just talking. How are you? Yeah.
It's like something.
No, it's not a little bit
I would just remember, this guy, if he's an investor, he'll get every contract. If he asks for more than a couple $1,000 rents, it's screwed. But I just so it's okay. We seem like we need this, okay? We need to, we'd like to get a contract on something that we're trying to work on. Closing. Right away. Same time. And do that. If he signs that contract, we'll be out of it. Just $10. What I do, I take screenshots, and take screenshots of where this codes, meeting was marked. And send it to the broker in charge and say, you know, we have a contract on this. We've got these listings there.
I don't know how to get one of those. I'm a nice girl. I'm a nice girl till you screw me over and the bitch goes out and like truth. I mean, it's just how it is. She doesn't come out often, but she can come out. I let her out every once in a while. Julie is the same. If you haven't figured that out. So she would be like, and then I would look at her at the and I'd be like, it don't matter to me, you tell me what's in. Because she, no, I did not. I talked afterward. It's okay, we'll find her. We might just go get the mail.
Earlier today. She just got back from a vacation. I spoke to her, I told her that Tricia was.
Yeah. No, we'll catch up. Oh, that'd be easy. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm not finding in the world.
That's the case. Okay, you guys said you definitely decided to listen.
No, he said he was shocked. Yeah, I mean, it was an A act. He goes, did you? And he goes, what?
Real estate agents can sell properties without getting good.
Right.
Without listening. Definitely.
But see, I would want somebody to come behind us and like really look at these numbers.
Don't take a look at it.
God, that's such a great idea. Thank you. Send it to you.
Text me the address.
And what we came up with, how we came up with the numbers.
Well,
did
you actually go through that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. But, so we are, okay. Might be okay if we got to talk to somebody. It's usually I work for you. For the time being, text me the address, because whatever, a lot of the applicants I use, there's quite a bit of disagreement or something. They have to pay more and shoot the deal now.
Well,
Right. And he was definitely negotiating. That's what I said. He said, I got it, but he has an
Do you want to know our finance?
I haven't asked him much.
Is the house livable or is it still?
It is definitely.
It's
real.
Now, livable is very subjective.
Well, that's what we're saying, it's dirty. It's gross. I don't think you can get that back. No, the bathroom has to be, the floor's got to gone. You step on it, and it You got some sheet rock? No, it's a toilet. He can hear it. And somebody put this plywood, 4-inch plywood into the interior, so you got a straight spot for the toilet. Just before that plywood, just before plywood, she stepped on it today and it just went. Not that I weigh that much or anything, but yeah, no, the bathroom is not set. Now, the master bathroom. Yeah, master bathroom. I was like, I don't even know.
Let me take a look at it. I think it was the applicant. I remember I said, I'll take a look at it when I get home. This is Obviously, I'm motivating this guy. Obviously, sounds motivating. We'll see.
He's motivated enough, he's not, my phone conversation with him, he does not want to do anything else in the house, like, he just wants to offer. I think he cleaned the clutter because it was the dog shit on it. You know, don't mince words. Ready to go? And I can send your own reference. Yeah. Well, I think y'all worry about him. I like Bob. It's like I'm excited, but you know, we have great informational coffees.
I know.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, I need to pick your brains for 1 second. Okay, sparks your interest. Okay. Yes, what's up? So, for the terms, and I realize it depends on, so let's just say, let's just say we wanted to step off into our first fix and flip. And we did a $60,000 on a house sitting on 1.15 acres. What's your length of time and range of administration? Okay, so you want to buy. The way we do it is
How long you off from here?
for the origination.
Not a week.
It's a short set. If it's a subject to, say shorting, let's say for example it has 2 liens on it, it's actually not that big. If you, to me, the ideal short sale is 2 liens, a huge second, but a small first. It's a lot easier to short the second lien.
Remember that. That would be for a whole year, okay? I have it right now, so we actually,
Hammer point.
yeah, I mean, I'll think about it by 2.
All the bells.
Have it less than, sure,
It's a nice tool.
well, typically, we want at least 90 days with it.
That's the point.
That's
Let's
wonderful.
do that. Let's do divide by 4. 90 days with office. Okay, that's that much, right?
Yeah, we gotta have lunch sometime.
So
We can
that
talk about
plus
this.
the 61.
All right.
Well,
All right, thanks,
it was
Bob.
1200.
What about skip tracing?
Right. That's basically what's gonna cost you to borrow.
I'll tell you, okay, there's a couple ways you can approach this. I
Gotcha,
don't like
3 months, I'm sorry. Okay.
Brianna back there, she'll use skip tracing with
Okay, and then let's
sunset.
do the 61.
Hammer
Well, let's hand them up. Points, 1,
There's still no guarantee.
2, look at the 6 months.
To me, if I see something I can't find a person,
That's the interest
okay,
on
like for
that
example,
impact
$900.
points.
I can't find a
Okay,
person, vacant house.
gotcha.
I find a
For
person,
6 months. That
I'll pull my
helps.
kids in.
Okay,
Fly
okay,
out the
perfect.
door, we buy houses.
That's how we do it. Perfect.
Force sell my own.
Awesome, you're funny. Awesome. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Try to make it as
I'll do it with my
simple as
writing, 'cause I'm sure about way bacon, I don't.
Anyway,
And I
if I do, to do a free skip trace, I might do something like
I
this.
wasn't here at the
Sometimes
last
numbers
meeting,
might, if you put an address in, sometimes numbers might be wrong, it might not come up. And it's always the case.
Yeah, well, okay, actually, let's try you.
Shoot people, yeah, I use that.
Okay, you use that?
Yeah.
That's about as deep in the skip trace as I get.
Thank you.
Some of the people that work with the credit bureaus.
I need to mention something to you.
Yeah. I'll talk to them now.
Oh, okay, get you know,
Remember I pitched the idea of the lecture series?
of the,
The lecture series where part 1 was establishing an ARV and part 2
yes,
was
yes.
estimating the renovation budget. Celia said she's willing to teach those 2 topics if you're interested.
Very.
Okay, she said, because I think she'd do great at both of those. Well, I just want to come on, you can do this.
Very much
So she says she thinks she can do those too. So I'm letting you know. I don't know what your schedule looks like going forward, but
give her some advance notice so that she
I will.
can start planning for that. I think she'll do a good
I
job.
appreciate, okay, she teaches kind of like the rehab budget part of it.
She said that establishing the ARV, so for, as a real estate agent,
She knows what she's doing.
yeah, she looks at comps and she understands how to, what to include and what not to include. And then, also, yeah, establishing the rehab budget, because she does that routinely for her projects.
Okay.
So,
Great.
so yeah, she said she'd want to do both of those. So it'd probably be 2 different sessions, is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I guess it may depend on how it all comes together, but.
Well, thank you, Adrian, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I figured I gave you the idea, I need to give you a speaker. I don't want to leave you hanging here.
Oh, she's been
Anyway, so she sounded like she was interested in doing that.
Yeah, I know she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. She was a biochemical engineer.
Yeah, I heard that last meeting. She was biochemistry or something like that?
Yeah, biochemical engineer.
Holy crap, there's some sharp people here.
She's super sharp, so I think she'll do a good job.
Thanks, Adrian.
Anyway, I told her if she needs help putting together a PowerPoint presentation, I'll help her with that.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, we'll see how it works.
Well, I appreciate it. I gotta figure out a way to make the association work for everybody, if that's the case. I mean, how's it gonna work for, like, you, Celia? I need to make it work for you somehow. You know, because you're giving into it, association has to get something back to you. That's fair.
Well, I don't know, Bob, because you're setting such a good example of giving, right? Helping others, bringing the whole group up. I mean, you said the goal was to increase the success rate, so I'm willing to donate some time to help with that too. I've been very blessed. I don't know how you. I've been more than blessed in my life, and I feel like as part of my life, I have a responsibility to help other people.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'll think of something.
Well, now let me mention one more thing. I've been toying with this idea, and I really don't know what to do with it. It's just an idea right now. There's no structure at all. But I have a passion for personal finance, to help people get their personal finances in order. And I think I have a lot to offer people in terms of advice. Don't know exactly how to structure that. I don't think it would be a nightly meeting. I'm almost thinking it would be maybe a half day or maybe a full day session on a Saturday. Ask people if they're interested. See if we can anybody sign up. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know, because I have nothing. I would be starting from scratch, and I have nothing prepared for that. So, what are you thinking? I mean, because here's the other thing. I think some people are reluctant to get started because they know that they've got a mess on their hands. They've got credit card debt already. They're behind on car payment or whatever it is, and the thought of borrowing more money to do a real estate project just sounds overwhelming. And we talk about wholesaling as the option for people who don't have any money. So why don't we help people get some money?
Well, yes, like Ralph and Dave were talking about, get your act in gear.
Right, just straighten out your own personal finances so that you'll feel a little more comfortable taking that step. And I think that might help people.
Maybe like a personal finance subgroup even?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to take that on. But let me mull it over some more.
Please, that's a great idea. Everyone's talking about real estate without saying, hey, I got to balance the rest of my life.
Right. So that's the thing. It's not a direct tie-in, except that I think it would help set the stage for people to take a little bit of a risk getting into real estate. You know? If their other parts of their life seem stable, it might be easier to take that step. So I don't know. I'm thinking, well, I haven't done anything yet, so that's just an idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I start thinking about it, I get overwhelmed thinking there's so much to cover, though. I'm not sure how I don't know.
I appreciate it. That's a great idea.
It might be too much for one day. I don't know. It might be. It might be. I don't know. Let me think it over some more.
Okay, thanks, Adrian.
Anyway, my pleasure.
Well, thanks for the talk. It was
But
great.
like I said, I appreciate what you do. You really demonstrate that you're running this group and treating everyone with respect and doing it for the right reasons, to educate and to inform and to help people. And that means it means a lot, and I want you to know how valuable that is. That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm helping, because I can see that you're doing it for the right reasons, and if I can help out too in any way, I'll be glad to.
Well, I'm just glad I didn't try to listen to people like Doug who wanted me to sell shit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian.
Better off without him.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking of, man, Bob. I was thinking, I think it's best time for me to just take that contract back, because she want too much anyway. So, I mean, if I take it back, then she might change her mind. She might drop the price if she can't sell it. Later on down the line.
Yeah, if she's asking too much, okay, when I talk to the seller, I typically make 2 offers.
Or unless I just list it in Craigslist or somewhere, hoping somebody might buy it for a retail price. People want to buy it for a home just to live in.
Yeah, I tell you what. When I make an offer to sell, it's actually 2 offers. At least 2 offers. Sometimes 3. I make one offer, it's all cash and severe discount. Okay, and the second one is the price they want, but with seller finance terms. With the good terms, you can still make money. I got a 1983 Ford Ranger pickup truck. It's beat all to shit. It runs.
She just wants straight cash.
She just wants straight cash. Okay, well, I'm just saying, look, most I can offer you is that. I don't want to piss my sellers off completely. So I say, ma'am, based on the numbers you told me, the most I could offer you is maybe say low 30s, high 20s, might that work for you? You're kind of feeling it out, right? You're not necessarily, say, ma'am, you also want to qualify that by saying, ma'am, would you talk to me or anyone like me who does what I do? Most of you guess probably all cash for a quick closeout is most likely about 60 to 65 cents on the dollar. But can you let her do the math in her head?
You're right. Yep. I may just send you the address, man. Let you look at the numbers on it. See what you think.
Yeah. I'll give my 2 cents.
Sure. All right. I appreciate it, Doc.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have lunch one day. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Catch you, Noble. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You waiting to talk to me?
Yeah, I just wanted to meet you. This is my first time out. My name is Danielle Wilkins.
Oh, yeah, okay. I saw you signed up on Meetup.
Correct.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Wilkins.
I just wanted to meet you, and I appreciate what you're doing here, and I just wanted to say hello.
Well, I hope you stay in touch.
I plan on it. I found a lot of stuff to be very informative tonight and interesting, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. You didn't hear this from me. Our lady who normally is at the desk back there, Dean Louise, she wasn't here. Okay? But usually at the meetings, the rule of thumb is normally first-time visitors are free. Repeat visitors who are not annual members are typically charged $20 at the door. But here's a little secret. Okay, you didn't hear this from me. Okay, she typically doesn't start charging about maybe $20, $25 after 6. Okay, so if you walk in here during the Legal Shield session, okay, before that, just walk in here, sit down, and pretend like you know what you're doing. Okay, she won't ask you.
Okay.
At least I've yet to see her ask anybody. Okay. So that way you basically get it free. You didn't hear that from me though. Yeah, I might get in trouble.
Okay.
So.
Will do. I appreciate that. But I don't want to keep you long. I just wanted to, I'll be back definitely. Think about becoming an annual member. But going forward, not having a property yet, and getting the first property and trying to learn about it. Anything you have for me right now that I can maybe just something to go forward. You think that should be maybe just try to find maybe a multi-unit or a single family or.
Okay, well, before I shut down, let me show you something. I want to look at this. In fact, I was showing this to Noble. Are you familiar with real estate investing? How experienced are you?
I'm new.
New?
I'm new.
Okay. I was telling Noble that, in my opinion, please hold the chair, okay? In my opinion, it's easier to find a motivated seller and then back into the property than it is to find properties and make offers hoping the motivated seller is behind it. Let's find a motivated seller first who really needs to sell the property to help solve his problems, right? And I'm going to show you one here, so otherwise we're going to get kicked out by the manager. Happened to us last meeting. Kicked our asses out. This is a wealth of information if you use it correctly. Oops. Wait. This is sccourts.org. Let's try it again. Okay, now, down here, what's your main market? Richland or Lexington County? Richland. Not that it really matters, but okay, go to record search. All right, you go to Richland County here. Okay, now just click on this disclaimer here. Okay, now the way foreclosures work in South Carolina, and okay, lis pendens is Latin for litigation pending. It's a civil suit basically. Like actually any litigation, not just civil. Okay, but anyway, you want the lis pendens. Now, not all lis pendences are foreclosures. Some are medical malpractice. Some guy sued me for his house back there, brought subject to negligence. So you'll see my entity show up as a lis pendens under fraud, bad faith. But I turned the tables on and extorted $6,700 from him. So I said, "Screw you, buddy. That ain't gonna happen." Okay. Anyway, now this is why we teamed up with Legal Shield. I'm going to show you something. You can't. When I first started this business back in the middle of full-time, back in 2005, you could go back. Okay, the way foreclosure works in South Carolina, at least in our areas, okay, when a borrower typically misses 3 payments or more, the bank files what's called lis pendens at the courthouse, okay? And we're a slow foreclosure state. So from the time lis pendens is filed, right now, about 4 to 6 months later, it goes to the actual auction itself, the sale, okay? So we want to catch it as early as possible. So we're looking for lis pendences. Now, back in the day, of course today's the 9th, back in the day, you used to be able to go back a full 4 months or more, okay, without this problem. Now, I can't even go back a week now. And this is the problem I hit. Because there's so much litigation in Richland County. Lexington County is not much better. See that? So now, see, it's a maximum search area. I used to not hit this. This is why we teamed up with Legal Shield. Anyway, short story is now I go back, so typically maybe, I think in Richland County, I think I can go back maybe a day or two at a time. I go back in those increments about 4 to 6 months. That's how I compile my pre-foreclosure list. As I mentioned, take a look here. Medical malpractice. This is not a real estate foreclosure. Okay? Anyway, for the ones that are, now remember, in South Carolina, unlike Georgia and North Carolina, South Carolina, the borrower actually holds the deed. So what you want is you want the defendant, okay? In this case here, let's say lay abbey. Okay, this one looks like it's a foreclosure, a real estate one. Let's take a look. Okay, it says canceled. I mean, somehow she cured it. But you know what? These people here, even though they cured it for now, most of the time they fall right back in foreclosure. I'd still send her a mailer, okay? Because when she falls back in foreclosure, I still want to be on top of it. Okay. Anyway. Come on. There we go. Now, the way I find the property itself, when I go to tax map information, okay, you can see here, it says the actual property, it looks like here it's a condo. Looks like it's a condo. Now, I don't trust this here. This is what I trust. So I'm going to search for that based on the tax map number. Not the, I'm not going to trust the description. Hope we don't do that, okay? So I'm looking, oops. So I'm looking for the property owner search. Is this shit boring you?
No.
If this is boring, you let me know. I really get into this sometimes.
Okay, well, glad you're here then. Okay. And then what I do is I copy and paste that tax map number. Now, Richland County can make it tough to find public information, okay? That's why I tell people, don't ever tell where you got this information. I can have the newbies, they watch the YouTube video, and then they go to the courthouse saying, hey, can you send me the list of probates? You know? And that puts, all that does is puts them on this, you know, the red list. So never do that. Okay. Anyway, and never tell anybody when you get in this data, because otherwise what's going to happen is this. You know, one day they may shut down easy access to this. Like, this is relatively easy here. Now, if this lady opted out, we're screwed, because you just see asterisks. Okay? And you actually got to go to the courthouse to pull her records. Okay? Most people don't realize you can opt out. If she had opted out, we just see nothing but asterisks. Okay? Fortunately, most people don't know that. Okay? So let's go here, view. Okay? Anyway, this is where I'd be sending a mailer to. Anyway, this is where I'd be sending a mailer to. This is the property itself. It looks like it is where she lives. So it looks like it's a condo where she lives in. It's been foreclosed on. So I'd be sending her. That's how I compile my pre-foreclosure lists. Lexington County operates so does it's a little tougher to do in had an issue. Is it Sumter County? They may have fixed it. Yeah, but fortunately, the counties that I work, it's relatively easy to do this.
You get a list of pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
Send mailers out to the owners.
That's what I do. Okay. Okay. Now, normally when I pull, like when I do for like driving for dollars or something, I might send my mailers to them, say once a month or once every other month. Okay. For something like this, because they're under the gun, my rule of thumb is to send to her once every other week, 6 times. If she hasn't responded by 6 times, I just move on to the next. Okay. Repetition is key when it comes to something like direct mail marketing. You can't just hit them once and expect a big ass response. You have to hit them a number of times. Okay. Anyway, that's one of the techniques I use. You okay with that? Okay. Anyway, it's kind of stuff we teach.
I guess I can look the research up on the mailers. The mailers, that's kind of what it needs to say.
I should put this up for the members anyway. So this is one of my favorite mailers. No, you can see any of my Pornhub stuff today. I actually have 2 templates up in the members areas. This is my favorite one. You can kind of see it's generic. It mentions a little bit of everything. It says here, oh yeah, foreclosure, bankruptcy, unwanted landlords. And then I actually got a call from a guy who's a Lexington County tax appraiser who goes, I chose a pre-foreclosure. And I knew I sent him this. And it was a pre-foreclosure mailing, but I wasn't going to tell him that. Okay. So anyway.
This is
Depends what the numbers come to. There's 4 things I look for any deal in order to be able to make an intelligent move. What does the salary like? What is the house worth? How much in repairs is needed? And mortgage information. And in the mortgage information, there's 3 questions I need to know the answers to. What's the current balance? What are the total monthly payments, PITI, and is it current or behind? I memorize those, okay? Because as I'm talking, I want to hear, just work those in. And I don't do research on those. I ask the seller. Okay, I want to hear, remember, the most important thing at this stage is to have a motivated seller. If the seller says something like, oh, I don't feel like I want to tell you that, or you say, what would you like for the property? Oh, I don't know, you make me an offer. How motivated are they? And you have to kind of shift gears. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway. Here's another thing. The gurus, did you want a wholesale or rehab or?
We should do things
I was
for
actually,
longer term.
from research I've done, I was
Probably 2 hours.
Okay.
Where
Where are you gonna get the money for it?
I try to get 3 of my guys.
I
2 of them.
think like what, is 10-50% down?
You think? Let me show you something.
Not sure. Just
Okay. With all due respect to our conventional lens, I'm gonna show you something.
okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna pull this up here. I'm gonna show you a little bit of, I'm gonna hold a subject to workshop later. This is gonna be part of it. Let me see here. Okay, out of all the true investor deals out there, okay, what the gurus don't tell you is this. They don't tell you that approximately only 25% of them have enough equity to be cash wholesale and cash rehab. The other 75% are something you have to get creative with because there's not enough equity to do the cash flips in. Okay, here's the thing: everyone's rushing into the wholesale pond, okay, and the rehab pond, and a lot fewer people are rushing into the creative finance side, subject to and stuff. So there's a lot fewer fishermen in the bigger pond. Okay, so that's why I like subject to. It's a lot less marketing, a lot less aggravation. Let me see, I can show you the typical model. You sure I'm not boring you? Okay. Okay, now, when a conventional purchase is made with a bank, there's 3 instruments involved. The deed, and do you know this shit already? The deed, obviously, which transfers ownership. The note, which says, okay, I borrowed so much from the bank, and I need to repay in such and such time. And the mortgage, you need to have the mortgage. The mortgage ties the note to the deed. That's the mortgage. This is an unsecured note. Okay, that ties them together. That's really important. What people don't realize, you can separate the mortgage and the deed. I think that's funny as hell. Okay, now let me show you what I do. I love this stuff. Thanks, Adrian. Okay. Oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry.
You're
So you
fine.
wanted to chat real quick? Zanelle?
Hey, Bob, we appreciate it very much. You got a great group here, I'll tell you. You guys got a tremendous amount of experience. I was thinking you had a bunch of rookies here, but you've got a lot of folks that really have some tremendous background and experience. You know, the gal with 14 years, we're talking about $1 million deal. And, I mean, just,
Well, I'm sorry, it's a little sparse on attendance tonight because I think the coronavirus kept people away.
yeah. Well, I thought it was a nice crowd, you know, and I kind of anticipated more questions, but I think, you know, knowing that the bank is not really, it's not the game plan for most of these folks. And even I talked to, like I said, I talked to a friend of mine that heads up the credit union, and he said, nah, he said, we're not in for the flipping or the rentals, just, you know, anything personal we'll take. But, you know, they just view it as high risk.
Yeah.
And of course it is for someone that doesn't really have a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, to be fair, you know, I think real estate's actually pretty low risk as long as you know what you're doing.
Exactly. That's the caveat. That's the caveat. And how do you get that experience?
Oh, yeah.
You get burnout.
Yeah.
Maybe send stuff together.
Well, now I told you some of my war stories.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's how you learn, unfortunately, and that's where you hope you know, it's not the big bucks, like this $703,000 one is. I mean, I'll go to my grave thinking about that, you know, I was talking.
That was out of their IRA?
Yeah, they had
Was it
started the
self-directed
business. It was, I don't know, it was IRA money. It had been 401 and they had transferred it. It maybe had been transferred to a Roth at the time, but they put it in that building over on Sunset Boulevard. It was it was a kid's playhouse kind of thing. It's a franchise. And I'll tell you what happened to him. On Facebook, somebody accused him of having bed bugs. And of course, it was a place where moms, stay-at-home moms, had a little coffee corner. They bring their kids to play and birthdays and all that stuff. They had all this chocolate stuff. Monkey Joe's, I think, is the name of the franchise.
That sucks.
And they brought in, Terminex and had letters they posted on Facebook. And it was absolutely not true. And they couldn't overcome it after about 3 months. I mean, the business tried out. Cost them $750,000 put the business. Now, they really had no business going into that. I mean, it turned out that place was not the ideal place. They put a lot for a building and all the big stuff, But they'd been in California. They'd seen this thing work great in California. They're working in Columbia, or in Lexington, South Carolina. But, I mean, it's tragic.
They had no plan? They just jumped into it?
They had to go through and get a franchise, so they had a plan from the franchise, but they didn't have, they just assumed the numbers and all that stuff, and it probably would have worked. I mean, they were on the lower end, bottom 10% as far as performance, because they really didn't have the kind of population to support that big a place. I mean, it's an orthopedic place now. It's a gigantic building. And they didn't have the population to really generate the kind of numbers, so they were in the bottom 10%. And then when the rumors and the Facebook started it was just vicious. So it was just a personal attack, absolutely not based upon any truth, and they couldn't overcome it. Yeah, I mean, it's tragic. So just one more risk element, in business today that who would have ever, you wouldn't have anything like that 20 years ago.
No.
So anyway,
I can hear every word you're
but
saying.
you got a lot of energy in this room, a lot of,
I sent a message
just really, you've got to be pretty proud of all these folks. Obviously, you get the accolades, people appreciate all the teamwork and the networking that you're able to build into a group like that. It's tremendous.
I feel uneasy when I hear stuff like that because I'm trying to keep the attention away from me and more towards everyone else.
Well, I think it's nice to be recognized. People appreciate all your work. But it's good. Well, we'll see. A few of them took cards and everything. We'll see if we can't help them get a plan. That's
thank you, Dave.
Okay,
you
sure.
have a valuable service.
Take care.
You too.
Yeah.
I'm good at this.
I know I don't want to keep this one now, but that what you were saying about the whole little thing, right now.
Depends how you do it. If you're burying like 15–20% of your own money into each one, I'd say no.
Yeah.
I've done that. I don't like that plan.
Okay.
You've heard of Burr, right? Oh, hey, Tim, good to see you. Now, we have a 1 Million Cups organizers meeting after.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, Andrew sent a group message out.
Yeah, because I have, what keeps popping up on my calendar is the one from last year. So I'm still confused about which.
No, it's third Wednesday, so it's not this Wednesday, it's a week.
Okay, that's right.
I said, Andrew sent this message. Check that before I'm lying.
Okay, all right.
So, thank you, Ralph.
Take care, yeah.
You too, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ralph, appreciate it.
Okay, go ahead.
How you doing? Good, how are you doing?
Good, I'm Dale.
Tim Bradford, nice to meet you.
Well, Tim's a business facilitating expert. You gotta know.
Okay.
Thank you for that. But
Tim's
everybody.
one of our speakers. He's our January speaker.
Okay.
So we got a good bunch of people here.
It seems like it does.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows that Bob's a good guy. Bob's a facilitator and networker, and everybody speaks fairly highly of him. I don't know how much he's paying him, but it's awful good. It must be pretty good because everybody that I meet who knows Bob says the same thing. Because I know I have to pay $20 for one nice compliment. So I don't know, he must be paying a lot more than me. Yeah, I'm trying to tell people, okay, slow down on the compliments. This is costly. We just give him one. All I can handle this week is one. $20. You know, gosh, inflation, it used to be $3 for a nice coffee.
Who's speaking tomorrow, 1 million cups?
We're having a made-it session with
Oh, I love those.
Stephen Gilchrist.
Yes.
Appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
See you, Neil.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, you know, I got a story about Stephen Gilchrist. Okay. Until they mentioned it, I didn't know who he was.
Right.
I mean, I remember I heard the name. Here's what happened. Donald Trump came to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay, what happened was this. I don't know how I got on the mailing list. It was from Gilchrist something at Gmail.
Yeah.
Okay? So I said, there's no way they're going to do this. He sent like an image of something. He said, at the bottom, said, click this link to apply to be admitted to Trump's talk.
Yeah.
Okay? So I wouldn't click because it was an image. So I returned the email back and said, Mr. Gilchrist, would I be eligible to see Donald Trump? The next thing you know, the White House sent me an email saying,
Isn't that amazing?
I couldn't believe you approved me in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's scary. If they, was it one of,
That was nice of him.
Was it Rodney? Was it you that I was telling? That was the one comedian, Fields, W.C. Fields.
Yes.
And he's not the one who said it, created it, but he's had a saying that said, I wouldn't join any organization that would have me. Well, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very hilarious. Oh, man. I couldn't believe Mr. Gilchrist did that for me.
Yeah, he's very well connected I'll let it go. In the Republican Party.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was, anyway, the idea was I went there to learn about opportunity zones and opportunities in general.
Exactly.
That's what it was an opportunity conference.
Exactly.
You know? And I got to see Trump talk. You know, I got to see, I knew Trump would be there. I didn't expect Ben Carson to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's sharp.
Yeah, well, that guy's sharp as a tack.
And I know I can tell, you get fake politicians, Ben Carson really wants to do good.
Absolutely. God bless him. He's involved with somebody who is questionable, very questionable.
He's a good man.
Who's that?
Carson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's a great man. Why would he be involved? And please understand, my knowledge of Donald Trump, whether you, and I'm a conservative, but he is very questionable human being. I'm not talking about him as president. I'm a former stockbroker, and I was hearing horror stories about Donald Trump and his family 40 years ago, traveling to New York, and understanding, because in the business community, he and his father were both respected, but also despised because they were awful people. And that
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You've heard the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Exactly. Some of the things his dad would say about ethnic groups, his dad was definitely a racist, and Donald Trump is not. Now, don't get me wrong. I would like to see that party, that group of people, in office because I think they can be beneficial. But he's got to go. And there is a Republican group called the Lincoln Project that just started in January that it wants to say. Oh no, he's not. I don't think
he's pro-Trump.
He's pro the administration. Yeah, there's a difference. And the administration, not the cabinet, is okay. It's just this gentleman in his cabinet. A quick story. I was in a meeting in Charleston recently. You need help taking this out?
Oh no, okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Let me work while we're talking.
There are a group of, it was a private meeting closed to the public.